Welcome to Statesboro, Georgia, and Paulson Stadium on a spectacular Saturday night on this Labor Day weekend tonight. The 2021 college football opener as the Gardner Webb Running Bulldogs of the Big South Conference have traveled south from North Carolina to take on the Georgia Southern Eagles of the Sun Belt. And good evening. I'm Matt Stewart, joined by Danny Waugh. And Danny, like a lot of teams, Georgia Southern coming out of this COVID season a year ago have a lot of returning starters. But the one place Georgia Southern does not have a returning starter at quarterback, and not until just a few moments ago did we find out that Amari Jones will be the guy that's taking the snaps to start this game.
That's right. The senior running back transfer from Tulane, listed as a running back, but going to take the opening snaps behind center. We'll also see redshirt freshman Sam Kennerson and true freshman Cam Ransom as well. But at least we know that Jones will make the start in the first series.
So an interesting decision to go with Amari Jones. So that's new for Georgia Southern. New for Gardner Webb, well, essentially their head coach, even though Trey Lamb has been on the job as the head coach for 20 months. Because of COVID, essentially, he starts his first full season as head coach of the Running Bulldogs tonight.
That's right. More of a sample size than a full season last year because of COVID-19. They only played 4 games in the spring. But one thing they have here in the fall they didn't have in the spring, a new quarterback, a new offensive coordinator, and a full slate of games ready to go in 2021.
It's the Running Bulldogs and the Georgia Southern Eagles from Paulson Stadium. Opening kickoff is coming up next. And back in Statesboro, the aforementioned Trey Lamb, the head coach of Gardner Webb. He's one of the youngest coaches in all of FBS. So it is his second season, but really it's the start of his first.
Yeah, he said it feels like a real season. The offseason felt somewhat normal and, just happy to be out here for a full slate of games, as we talked about earlier. Should be an exciting thing for head coach Trey Lamb and this young Gardner Webb staff.
And head coach Chad Lunsford starting his 4th season as the Eagles head coach says the vibe for this team is much like 2018. He feels like his team has a chip on their shoulder, picked to finish 4th in the Sun Belt East. They feel like they've got something to prove.
Yeah, at this point, they might as well be picked last in the East Division, is what Chad Lunsford said. They're going to go out there and make a statement throughout 2021. Last season, went 8-5. They just revealed the banner for the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, which they won 38-3 over Louisiana Tech.
They lost a lot of games in the 4th quarter a year ago. That has been a point of emphasis for Chad Lunsford's team coming into the 2021 season.
And as we talked about earlier, new quarterback situation as well. Shy Work decided to use that extra year of eligibility, transfer it to Louisville, working his way as a wide receiver. Justin Tomlin inactive for the first 2 games of the season. So this is going to be a real feeling out process for a lot of guys that can get some reps.
Well, if there is a carryover, that R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl victory, 38-3 over Louisiana Tech, was perhaps the most thorough victory and complete victory of the season for the Eagles. So Britton Williams will tee it up, and he will kick off. The freshman out of Richmond Hill, Alex Rayner, the #1 kicker, is inactive tonight.
And we found that out just minutes before kickoff this evening as well. So it'll be unique to see what the young freshman can do out there kicking the ball for the Eagles.
Luther and Gaither standing deep for Gardner Webb. And it's going to be Luther at the 1-yard line. And Luther will not make it back to the 20 as he gets dropped at the 17-yard line.
First down, 10 yards to go.
And that's where Gardner Webb will go on offense for the first time tonight and the first time in 2021. And they also have a new quarterback, the transfer, Bailey Fisher, who lit it up in the OVC, was the OVC 2018 Rookie of the Year at Tennessee Tech.
And already has a working relationship with Trey Lamb. He was the offensive coordinator in his first 2 seasons.
In fact, Trey Lamb says, I wouldn't be the head coach at Gardner Webb had it not been for Bailey Fisher. And Fisher throws it complete to Gaither, and Gaither scrambles to get back to the line of scrimmage as Anthony Wilson, the safety, makes the tackle.
We'll see a good bit of carries from Nari Gaither, the junior from Rock Hill, South Carolina, was named 2nd team All-Big South in the 4 games they played in the spring.
Fisher is a Georgia kid, starred at Rabun County before Gunnar Stockton, the 4-star, who's now the starting quarterback and committed to Georgia. But Bailey was the first quarterback to star there at Rabun County. Passes thrown complete to the tight end, Dalen Thomas. He scrambles up to the 24-yard line. Josue making the tackle for the Eagles, and it's going to be 3rd down and short.
What's going to be unique about this Gardner Webb offense, they have a ton of new receivers and guys that didn't get as much playing time in the spring. Dalen Thomas, one of them, sophomore from Roswell, North Carolina.
Yeah, Thomas, a transfer from Catawba, was a walk-on, or perhaps we should call him a walk-in. He walked into Coach Lamb's office his second day on the job and said, "Can I walk onto your team?" Coach looked at him and said, "You bet."
Yeah, 6'4", 238 pounds. You're not going to deny that guy an opportunity.
So 3rd down and short for Gardner Webb. Play action. It's thrown to Thomas, and Thomas is going to pick up the 1st down as he moves up to the 31. Canteen among those in on the tackle for the Eagles, but a first series, 1st down for the running Bulldogs.
And there you see Thomas using his height and his weight to his advantage, pushing through the pile to get a running Bulldogs 1st down.
We might point out that the offensive coordinator for the running Bulldogs is somebody very familiar to Georgia Southern, Taylor Lamb, the former star quarterback at App State, and Trey's cousin is the OC. So he knows a lot about playing the Eagles. Fisher, an empty backfield set, being chased by Josue, throws complete to Gaither, and Wilson spins him out of bounds, probably got a piece of his face mask at the 35-yard line.
Possible face mask, possible horse collar on the attempted tackle. We'll see what the official says.
During the run, personal foul, face mask, number 12, defense, 15 yards added to the end of the run, 1st down.
That's Jeremy Parker, our referee, working this season opener here tonight in Statesboro, and the mark-off is going to put the ball at the 49-yard line. So 1st and 10 for Gardner Webb. They picked up 2 1st downs since starting from their 17. Of course, the Trey Lamb name probably familiar to a lot of Georgia people watching. The Lamb name, a big one in high school football in the state of Georgia. His dad, Hal, won 3 state championships at Calhoun. His grandfather, Ray, won 3 state championships himself, coaching at Warren County, Commerce, and Monroe area. And Bobby Lamb, his uncle, coached at Furman and Mercer, now at Anderson University. And a big tackle by C.J. Wright as Jalen Graham gets thrown for a loss.
C.J. Wright, the senior from Sylvania, Georgia, had 39 tackles and 5.5 tackles for loss in 2020. 6 foot, 285 pounds, meeting Gaither right behind the line of scrimmage.
And get this, C.J. Wright was coached by Ron Duncan in high school at Scriven County High School, who is a cousin of Trey Lamb. The family connections go on and on.
Yeah, Wright taking down Graham out there in the backfield.
That's Luther in motion, bounces off of his helmet. He's going to take a big loss back at the 40-yard line. That was A.J. Watkins who got to him first, and then Josue was there to clean it up.
Seemed like some miscommunication there. A high snap and the handoff offline as well to find Luther, and luckily Luther able to keep possession alive.
That was not a pass. The snap was fumbled.
So 3rd down and 22 from the 39. And let's see, did Gardner Webb call a timeout here? I think Trey Lamb is trying to make the argument with Jeremy Parker that should be an incomplete pass.
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it looked like a wide receiver sweep handoff. It just didn't go the way of the Bulldogs.
Gardner Webb wants to challenge the ruling on the field.
Well, it looked like he kind of pushed it out there as a forward pass.
Yeah, I guarantee you that's exactly what the argument that Trey Lamb is trying to make, is that was a forward pass, kind of a little shovel pass that bounced off the helmet of Luther and should be ruled incomplete.
I understand why he wants to make that challenge. It would save the running Bulldogs a couple of yards on third down.
Yeah, it would turn it in, instead of a third and it would be a 3rd and 12 with the incomplete instead of it being 3rd and 22. So the play is under review, a challenge by Trey Lamb. In fact, Trey Lamb is also very familiar with Georgia Southern. Back in his days when he was a star quarterback at Calhoun playing for his dad, his very first scholarship offer came from then Georgia Southern head coach Chris Hatcher. I think, actually it doesn't look like an incomplete pass, but I think by the rule of the book, it's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, well, they were just to push it out there to make it look like a pass. And also, Trey Lamb talked about how he loves to recruit players from the Southeast Georgia area. And this is kind of like a homecoming for some of these players. He recruits a lot out of the state of Georgia overall. So they know it's going to be a big game for them. They have a chip on their shoulder. Some of those players that may have not have been looked at by Georgia Southern in high school, they want to make a statement here this evening.
Yeah, they have 20 players on the roster for Gardner Webb that will play tonight. They've got 34 overall from the state of Georgia.
After video review, the quarterback possessed the ball, passed it forward. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd and 10 at the previous spot.
Now, Chad Lunsford wants to talk to Jeremy Parker because he does not agree with that call, but I believe it is the right call.
Yeah, looking at that replay a couple of times, it checks out that it was more of a forward pass, and good awareness by Fisher just to try to
Gardner
get it out.
Will not be charged with a timeout.
So a good challenge by Trey Lamb. They are not charged with the timeout because they win the challenge. So instead of 3rd and 22, it's going to be more like 3rd and 12. Still a hard conversion. But that's why I've always been a proponent of that play, and I wonder why teams don't run it more. Because if you mess it up, it's an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
So 3rd down and 12 from their own 49-yard line. Right up the middle, Gaither has the first down, I believe. He's going to be very close to it. Nari Gaither with a big 12-yard run. That might move the sticks, and it will.
And they opened up the field. You had 3 wide receivers on the far side prior to the snap, leaving an opening in the middle.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. 10 yards from spot of foul. Replay. 3rd down.
Carter Francis, the center, going to be called for holding. So even though they got the previous play overturned, making an incomplete pass instead of a fumble, the holding penalty makes it 3rd down and 22 anyway.
Yeah, it goes back. Carter Francis, another one of those kids from Georgia, played at Allatoona High School in Kennesaw, just north of the city of Atlanta. So it goes back. Not quite 3rd and 22, but still a long way to go. It's going to be more like 3rd and, I believe, 19. See if they go back to the ground game right there. Probably not. Fisher going to go to the air. Heavy rush. Hit as he throws and incomplete. He got leveled by C.J. Wright, who didn't see him coming from the blind side.
C.J. Wright, wearing number 0, able to break through the O-lineman for Gardner Webb, put pressure on Fisher. And now the running Bulldogs will have to punt. Take a look at this. Fisher bouncing back, and Wright just powering through, making his presence felt on the defensive side for Georgia Southern.
So C.J. Wright with a tackle for loss and a quarterback pressure here in the opening defensive series of the season for the Eagles. And now Jack Pulowski will punt for the running Bulldogs, standing at his 28, and Caleb Hood is deep for the Eagles, back at the 19. Heavy rush, and he booms it out of there. A rainmaker, fair catch called for and made by Hood at the 16-yard line. And that's where the Eagles will go on offense for the first time tonight. And we'll step aside, and when we come back, we'll see Amari Jones taking the snaps for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Back in Statesboro, let's take a look and talk about the home keys for Georgia Southern here tonight as they open up the season against the running Bulldogs.
Yeah, they want to make sure they can attack and not sit back and let Gardner Webb dictate. They want to attack on all cylinders. They want to make sure they play a clean game of football and also make sure they establish a run and have good ball security here tonight.
And there is Amari Jones, the transfer from Tulane, who's officially listed on the depth chart as a running back. How surprised are you that he's getting the start at quarterback tonight?
A little bit surprised, but he's been in the mix to get some reps. And already on first down, a nice run from Logan Wright getting more than 5 yards.
Logan Wright, J.D. King will not play tonight. Of course, J.D. King coming off season-ending knee surgery. Last week they've elected to hold him out. He had some swelling in the knee this week. Jones pitches to Logan Wright, and Wright gets dropped for a loss back at the 20-yard line.
When we talked to coaches about who would be the starter, Amari Jones was the third name listed. Mainly it was kind of a battle between Cam Ransom and Sam Kennerson, so it is a little bit surprising to see Jones make the start and Georgia Southern wasting no time. Third play from scrimmage.
Logan Wright right up the middle, first down up to the 38-yard line. Big run by Logan Wright, who rushed for over 600 yards a year ago, but going to be in a primary spot here in the running back room this year.
Yeah, coaches are expecting Wright to have a big year. He had 602 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2020, along with 8 receptions for 121 yards and a receiving touchdown on that end as well.
So 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. That's Bo Johnson. He's back after having the leg injury a year ago. They're going to throw to Caleb Hood with the screen. Bo Johnson was blocking for him. Caleb Hood runs it up to the 45-yard line. Damian Williams, the Georgia Tech transfer, making the tackle from his safety position.
Expect Caleb Hood to be heavily involved in the Eagles' offense.
Handoff, Logan Wright again, and Logan Wright. One thing you're going to notice about the Georgia Southern Eagles here in 2021 under offensive coordinator Doug Roos is they're going to play up-tempo and they're not going to huddle.
Yeah, he talked about the signal changes that he wanted to make. It's always a challenge teaching that new system. You want to make sure it all goes well in game one, and it seems to have gone well so far, but a whistle.
So 3rd down. And okay, because they moved the ball back because I was looking at the ball in relation to the sticks, and I was like, that looks like a first down. Why have they not moved the sticks? But they did move the ball back. So 3rd down and about a foot. Now that's going to be a first down. Logan Wright moving the pile across midfield and down to the 46-yard line.
First down.
Shai Thomas leading the way, making that tackle for Gardner Webb. But another first down for the Eagles, who are playing hot and fast right now.
Yeah, we're already seeing Gardner Webb have some trouble stopping their run. They run a 4-2-5 defense. There's a lot of openings in the middle of the field. And Logan Wright's been taking advantage of that throughout the first drive for the Eagles.
Hood goes in motion. Again, Logan Wright right up the middle, this time just a 2-yard gain to the 45. And we're going to see more of 1 and 2 back sets and a lot less of 3 back sets from Georgia Southern this year as well.
Yeah, and the running back room is deep this year. They have 5 different guys they can go to, along with Amari Jones, who's even a quarterback right now. He's already making great use of Logan Wright, 6 foot, 230 pounds, more of a power back. He's been powering through so far.
2nd down and 8. Jones running some option, going to keep it and cut it back in the middle, and got dropped at the 43-yard line.
Jones on the run.
Malachi Buckner, another Georgia kid, played at Tucker, Georgia High School, made that tackle. Now it's going to be 3rd down.
A redshirt junior. When you have 5 defensive backs, you can always have one to keep an eye on the quarterback at all times. And that play for Gardner Webb, Buckner was there to make the stop.
So 3rd down and 6 from the Gardner Webb 43. Jalen White in there at running back. Amari Jones going to run it. He's not going to pick up the first down. William McRaney, the linebacker, makes the stop. 4th down and short. Do you go for it here?
I think you have to. At this point, you have good field positioning. You've been able to establish the run game early in the first series. It wouldn't hurt, and they're too far away to kick a field goal, but even if they were in field goal range, you have a true freshman, Britton Williams, making his first start.
They brought in 94 Vernell Henshaw. He's a tackle, but he's wearing 94 to be an extra tight end in this formation. Logan Wright on 4th and 3, and Logan Wright picks up the first down at the 36.
Notice with Henshaw in as an extra tight end, still listed as a lineman, can go in there and block, and having that extra guy on the outside, a lot of space, and Wright powering his way through again.
So Logan Wright has 37 yards on this opening drive, 6 carries. You know he's loving that. 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. And the keeper, and Amari Jones, not going to be able to turn the corner.
Amari Jones on the run.
Yeah, that play wasn't going to work out for Georgia Southern. Gardner Webb had 4 guys on the outside waiting for the quarterback and the pitchman as well. Honus Wagner, one of those 4. You see Wagner going in to make the tackle.
And Danny's not joking. His name is Honus Wagner. As in the most famous and most expensive baseball card ever. The former Major League Baseball player from over a decade ago, over a century ago, I should say. And Jones, they spied him well, didn't let him make the play. McRaney comes up and makes the tackle. And it's going to be 3rd down.
You have to remember, with Georgia Southern running a gun pistol option, you're not going to see much passing from the Eagles. They averaged 267 yards on the ground throughout 2020.
So Amari Jones in there at quarterback to start this game. Transfer from Tulane. That's Gerald Green lined up next to him and Hood in motion. Handoff goes to Gerald Green, and Green got tripped up before he could make his dash. William McRaney saved a 1st down right there, and now it's going to be 4th down again.
Now you're starting to see some of the additional running backs from Georgia Southern get involved. Gerald Green, the redshirt sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, had 444 yards on the ground last season, looking to make an impact following Brian Miller. Great block to get through, but right at the very end, McRaney trips him up.
This is going to be a 49-yard attempt for Britton Williams. What do you think's going through his head right now?
Just get it off and do your best.
Beck is the holder, and the kick is on its way, and the kick is going to be good. How about that? The freshman, Britton Williams, on his first collegiate field goal attempt, nails a 49-yarder. And Georgia Southern takes the early lead, 3-0. Big moment for that young man. 13, making the tackle on 13, Justin Franklin.
Another Georgia kid, Justin Franklin from Douglasville, Georgia, played in Douglas County, had 50 receptions for 800 yards his senior year.
So 2nd down. High snap, and lobs it over the middle, looking for Dalen Thomas, and we're going to have a flag, likely a penalty on Trey Allen for pass interference.
They had heavy trips right on that play for Gardner Webb. Instead, they go up the middle.
Pass interference. Defense, number 43. Ball will be placed in spot of the foul. Automatic. 1st down.
So a 1st down. That's the 2nd 1st down by penalty for Gardner Webb in this game.
See him go over, and right there, Allen had a
Didn't
hand.
look like there was a lot of contact, but there was a little. And quite frankly, looked like an uncatchable ball.
From a distance, yes, but also you saw there for a brief moment, Allen, kept a hand on Thomas the entire time, forcing the pass interference.
So 1st and 10 from the 39. Gaither up to the 44. Darrell Baker at the corner making the tackle after a 5-yard gain.
So you'll see a mix of run pass for Gardner Webb. This time, handoff to the right side. Following the O-lineman. Good blocking up front by Gabe Thompson. And 4-yard plays is all that Trey Lamb wants to see from his offense.
Yeah,
that'll get the job done.
Yeah, he said he'd be throwing a party if they could get 4 yards on 1st down. Incomplete at the 47-yard line, out of the reach of Franklin.
It's 3rd
third down, ball at the 44. Gardner Webb 1 of 2 on their third downs here in the first quarter. Fisher being chased and run down from behind by C.J. Wright, but he picks up the first down.
Well, Fisher has been known to use his legs at Tennessee Tech. In 25 games, he rushed for a total of 808 yards and has 14 rushing touchdowns. That time putting on display for a first down for the running Bulldogs.
So 1st and 10 from the Georgia Southern 46. Transfer from Stetson. Heavy rush, setting up a screen pass for Gaither. And Gaither is going to be corralled from behind at the 43-yard line. And then a tussle afterwards for the ball.
Great awareness by Dylan Springer, who made the play on defense for Georgia Southern. Yes, it was a running back screen, and Gaither trying to maneuver his way. As you see, makes the catch, tries to get through, and kind of collided with Gabe Thompson on the offensive line for Gardner Webb, trying to find the hole. And Springer able to bounce back and make the stop.
Second down. Quick pass thrown to Jordan. And he's going to be driven out of bounds by Zion McGee.
McGee made the play, but Derek Cantina on the outside got arms around the legs, and Georgia Southern expecting a big year from Cantina after what he did in 2020. 6 interceptions, tied the school record and the lead in all of college football.
Chad Lunsford says that Cantina's a lot like Kendall Vildor, who's now in the National Football League, from the standpoint of his preparation and how he takes to his craft as a cornerback. Scott Sloan said he brings his Surface Pro to all their meetings and just pecks away at it, taking notes all the time. Third down now. Fisher going up top, going deep, and hangs it up there. It's going to be caught inside the 5-yard line. Touchdown, Gardner Webb. The ball was overthrown, and the running Bulldogs came back to get it. What a catch by Luther. In that case, the ball being overthrown played to Gardner Webb's favor.
It was one-on-one going downfield. TJ Luther, one of the transfers for the running Bulldogs. You see here, one-on-one with Canteen. Luther able to stop, gets through, gets the arm over the end zone. Touchdown.
They're going to go for 2 here. Pulowski, the punter, throws it, and it is incomplete. Dropped.
No good.
So the punter, Pulowski, ends up throwing the pass incomplete, and it's going to be 6-3. But Gardner Webb gets on the board with the first touchdown of the day on a pass from Fisher to Luther. Bailey Fisher with a long touchdown pass to T.J. Luther puts Gardner Webb on top 6-3 with under a minute to play here in the first quarter.
Well, you got to remember, in 25 games at Tennessee Tech, Bailey Fisher threw for over 4,500 yards and 34 touchdowns. He was the Ohio Valley Conference Freshman of the Year, was preseason OVC as well in the spring of 2021. Not to mention, in high school, he threw for over 9,000 yards. You would think that's incredible. He was also a bit overshadowed because during that time, you also had Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields dominating in high school in the quarterback spot in the state of Georgia.
Pooch kick is going to be taken at the 20-yard line. and return up to the 32, and that's where the Eagles are going to go on offense for the second time in this game. And you're right, he was overshadowed from a recruiting standpoint at 5'11", 207. Bailey Fisher isn't getting the big schools to look at him, but his stats certainly matched up with the guys like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. He was every much statistically as good as they were.
Absolutely, and Trey Lamb, the head coach for Gardner Webb, talked about how Fisher is incredibly smart. He's a great distributor of the ball, understands the air raid scheme, and can make a bunch of plays, and we saw that on display with the touchdown to T.J. Luther.
Yeah, said he wants to be a coach someday, and he said, I'll hire him. Just very similar to Trey Lamb's path to the college ranks as Amari Jones takes the snap. He's in there as the quarterback for the second consecutive series, and he picks up 3 yards on the play. Trey Lamb was a star quarterback himself at Tennessee Tech, and immediately upon finishing his career as the number 3 passer in school history, he became the quarterback coach the next year.
Yeah, and you see his path right now, and it's great to see the progression of what he's doing, the way he was able to hire his coaching staff, a young coaching staff, but they can relate to the team a lot.
Youngest coaching staff in FCS, and right up the middle, Logan Wright across the 50-yard line, all the way down to the 42, and a touchdown-saving tackle by Damian Williams.
Well, what ain't broke, don't try and fix it. Logan Wright has been extremely effective up the middle for Georgia Southern on offense. They're going to go to him again instead of fake, actually.
And Amari Jones on the quarterback keeper going to get to the 38-yard line before he is spun to the ground. That was Trey Dunson from Heard County. As we reach the end of the first quarter, we played 15 minutes in Statesboro. Gardner Webb on top, 6-3. Start of the second quarter here in Statesboro. Gardner Webb on top of Georgia Southern, 6-3. Matt Stewart along with Danny Waugh. Heavy dose of Logan Wright for the Eagles in that first quarter.
Well, offensive coordinator Doug Ruse talked about how much of a blessing it is to have a deep running back room. And out of the 5 running backs on the chart, Logan Wright has the most experience. And he's had some big chunk plays in the first quarter for Georgia Southern, trying to continue that momentum as we begin quarter number 2.
Gerald Green will start the second quarter as the running back behind Amari Jones. Bo Johnson goes in motion behind the line. And Green gets the run right up the middle, all the way down to the 22-yard line. Big run as T.J. Comstock, the nickelback, saves him from getting into the end zone.
The speed by Green on display, 5'9", 195 pounds. Able to cut through with just quickness and agility for an Eagles first down.
Coach Chad Lunsford said it was tough to look at the sidelines and see Gerald Green and Jalen White on the sideline, and said we've got to find a better way of getting them more involved in the running game this season. Amari Jones going to get dropped in his tracks. Janathan Turner, the all-conference defensive tackle, in on that tackle, along with the number 34 as well, Honus Wagner.
Yeah, that play blown up by the Gardner Webb defense. Not much room to work with for Jones.
Lost a yard on that play, second down. First pass attempt, Amari Jones going up top, and it's caught over the shoulder. Gerald Green, touchdown, Georgia Southern. Or are they going to rule him out on the sideline? I think they're going to rule him out of the 8-yard line.
But that was a great pass by Jones. For a moment there, Green stopped on the route, kept going, and there you see a touchdown-saving tackle by Trey Dunson, sending Green out of bounds.
So first and goal to go for the Eagles at the 8-yard line. Gerald Green, and that is a touchdown for Georgia Southern. One way or the other, Gerald Green got his touchdown, 8-yard touchdown run, and the Eagles are back on top, 9-6.
Yeah, he was not going to be denied of the end zone. So Green stays out there, gets through, and puts the Eagles back on top.
So let's see if the Eagles do the same thing that Gardner Webb did right here. So they line up in that swinging gate formation, the same formation that Gardner Webb used on the previous PAT.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under video review.
Well, before we even have the PAT, we're going to review the play to see if he indeed got into the end zone.
Here's another angle.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in.
Yeah, he's in.
I don't think it's even really a big question mark. I'm surprised. Although all scoring plays are naturally reviewed. I don't know why they had to announce that it was being reviewed. I guess they're going to take a deeper and longer look at it.
And just to be sure. And from our angle, we're sure he was in for a touchdown.
I mean, I didn't think there was any kind of a question mark. The only question would be, does a part of his body, say his knee or an elbow, hit outside the end zone before the ball breaks the plane? And it did not appear that was even close to being the case.
He collided with Jeremy Mitchell for Gardner Webb.
Right there. It looks like his knee hits the ground, maybe back at the 1. But where was the ball in relation to the goal line when his knee hit the ground? That's the question. On that replay, you couldn't really tell. That back angle that we just saw did show that his knee did hit outside of the end zone.
Well, while we're waiting, just great to see a tremendous crowd on hand inside Paulson Stadium.
After video review, and the ball was at the yard line. Be second and goal at the half-yard line.
Well, you did call it.
Well, his knee was down. Hit the ground, but what I couldn't see, but maybe they had a different angle than what we saw. You can see his knee hits the ground, but where is the ball? See, right there.
Hey, there's his knee.
I guess so. Hard to tell, but they got it. Hopefully they got it right. So it's going to be second down and goal from the half-yard line.
Well, Green's still out there. I would give the ball to him again. This is the second time he was denied a touchdown. He really wants to smell that end zone.
So second down and goal from the half-yard line now.
Half a yard, I say give it to him up the middle.
And Green, that time he's in the end zone. So the third time is the charm for Gerald Green. He had scored touchdowns seemingly on the last 3 plays. This one will count, and now it's 9-6 Georgia Southern.
It just shows that he was not going to be denied.
So they do not have a kicker out there right now. Williams, the kicker, is lined up on the hash mark as a wide receiver, and Beck, the punter, who's the holder typically on PATs, is taking a shotgun snap. So not sure what the holdup is right here. The play clock is winding down. Now they set the ball down. I mean, the play clock was running and the ball had not been placed down. So here comes the kicker, and the formation will be set. And Williams will try the PAT from the 10-yard line. Play clock is at 10. Ball is snapped down. The kick is up and good. And so Georgia Southern's lead is 4. Touchdown run by Gerald Green puts the Eagles back on top early second quarter. We saw Logan Wright kind of featured in the first quarter as the running back. Gerald Green kind of the feature back early here in the second quarter. One thing that's new in the Georgia Southern running back room this year, Danny, is Fabian Upshaw is back as the running back coach.
Yeah, it's always great to have a familiar face in the coaching staff. For those who know, Fabian Upshaw was the MVP of the 2015 GoDaddy Bowl when the Eagles winning that game over Bowling Green. He also was led by Doug Roos as his offensive coordinator, so he already has that working relationship on the offensive side, and he's done a great job with the running backs throughout the offseason.
Gaither fumbled the kickoff, then picks it up. Sometimes that can be trouble, and this is trouble. Out across the 40-yard line, steps out of bounds at the 43. Sometimes when you have the kick returner fumble the ball, it throws the timing off of the entire play, and the defense kind of outruns their coverage. They get too deep, and it takes just a couple of cuts to get beyond them and turns into a big game.
I was looking forward to the big play at the very end. Britton Williams was right in line with Gaither. I was expecting a hit stick tackle from the kicker there.
He did shove him out of bounds.
Yeah, did the right thing getting him out of bounds, preventing a touchdown.
Yeah, Britton Williams has had a good start to his college career. 49-yard field goal, some touchbacks, a touchback, PAT, and now a tackle. So 1st and 10 from the 44 for the running Bulldogs as they go back on offense, and a quarterback sack is C.J. Wright. Gave Bailey Fisher a big bear hug at the 42-yard line.
Wright continuing to make his presence known. You also had Justin Ellis on the outside come in, collapsing the pocket on Fisher.
That's going to be the second quarterback sack for the Eagles in this game. And Wright also had a big quarterback hit earlier in the ball game in the first quarter. Showing some blitz here. And Fisher going to the air, and that's complete to Jordan out of bounds at the 49-yard line. That was Tyler Bright on the coverage, and it's going to be 3rd down.
Justin Jordan, another wide receiver transfer for the running Bulldogs from Stetson. Had over 1,200 yards in 26 games from the Mad Hatters.
Yeah, he's from Stetson, but he's a high school kid from Georgia, played at Dutchtown High School. In fact, was a teammate of Kevon Glenn, new inside linebacker for Georgia Southern this year, who transferred to the Eagles from Florida State. So 3rd down and long. In fact, Glenn is in there right now at inside linebacker. Pass is thrown and incomplete, trying to squeeze it into a tight spot to Luther at the 49-yard line.
Both the inside linebackers for Georgia Southern read that play well. Marquez, Watson, Trent, and Trey Allen putting the pressure on Fisher. Now it's going to be 4th down and 7. And the Bulldogs are going to go for it here.
Interesting. On their side of the 47 and 7 to go.
And they're going to try and get the D lineman to jump.
And turn it into a 4th and 2. No, they're going to go for it. No, quick kick. Smart play here. Nobody back for Georgia Southern. It's going to hit and roll backwards, however, and be dead at the 25. And so that's where the Eagles will go on offense. So Bailey Fisher with the quick kick from the quarterback position boots him out of that 4th and 7 situation.
So you see here Amari Jones still out at quarterback for Georgia Southern. When we talked to Doug Roos earlier this week, he said it was going to be by committee, even though he said we may see Cam Ransom and Sam Kennerson. They're going to go with the hot hand, and Jones has played well so far in the first half.
Now, we were told just before kickoff that Jones would be the starter, ending the suspense for us, but we were told that Ransom would be playing the 3rd series. This is the 3rd series, but Jones is still out there. So obviously plans do change in the heat of battle. And the hot hand, as you were talking about, and Gerald Green's going to get the carry here. It is the 2nd quarter, and he gets the carry.
They stick with the hot hand on the running back side as well.
That was Ty French, number 11, making the tackle for Gardner Webb right there. That's one of those South Georgia kids. He started Colquitt County High School in Moultrie, preseason Big South first team. Has had a huge impact. And one of the guys that, Trey Lamb says they wouldn't have gotten had it not been for COVID. Several players on their roster because of COVID. Remember, a lot of players could come back who, under normal circumstances, their eligibility would have been expired. So there weren't as many scholarships out there. And so Gardner Webb was the beneficiary of that with a number of players. Ty French being one of them.
And he was the Big South Defensive Player of the Year last season. First team all defense, preseason first team defense as well. So a lot of expectations for French this year for the Bulldogs.
3rd down for the Eagles. 2nd pass attempt for Amari Jones, and he fires. It is complete, and that's a 1st down to Emil Smith at the 40-yard line. So Jones is 2 for 2. Actually, I think he's 3 for 3. Pardon me.
You see here, throws to his left.
Now that's an incompletion. Caleb Hood, the intended target, skipped it to him at the 43-yard line.
So Green checks out. And Logan Wright going to come back in. So far in the first half, 7 carries for 60 yards.
Gerald Green, 6 carries for 32 and a touchdown. Amari Jones, 7 carries for 5 yards total, including the losses. Jones going to run it again, has Hood as his pitch man, and he's going to be wrapped up and dropped for a loss. Tremaine Booker, the graduate defensive tackle with the TFL, and now it's going to be 3rd down. This is one of the strengths of this Gardner Webb team, their defensive line. In fact, one of the biggest strides that Trey Lamb has made as the head coach is improving the play of their defensive line and their offensive lines.
Yeah, you said look at any team in college football, why they are so successful, because it all starts up front with their O-line and D-line. Amari Jones here on the run, his helmet came off, so he has to step out for a play. You see here Tremaine Booker waiting right there for the tackle. McRaney joining in on it.
That means Cam Ransom is making his debut at quarterback. Offsides on the running Bulldogs as Ransom is dropped for a loss, but this is going to be a penalty on Gardner Webb. And Jones is going to come right back in.
Offside, defense, number 95. In a neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay the down.
This could create a very interesting dilemma if Amari Jones continues to be successful at quarterback. Justin Tomlin, of course, not available for the first 2 games of the season because of academic issues. And Chad Lunsford reiterated to us that when Tomlin comes back, he will be the starter unless, of course, somebody lights it up.
Yeah, and you can't take that away from a guy like Amari Jones who respectfully, puts his name in the hat to be the starting quarterback if he continues to produce well in these first tonight and the next game for Georgia Southern.
Next game for the Eagles will be at Florida Atlantic next Saturday, a team they beat here in Statesboro last December. So now it's going to be 4th down and 1 at the 49. Are you going for it here?
Yeah, you go for it right here. Logan Wright has been extremely effective up the middle. They've pounded the zone a lot.
Eagles have rushed for 107 yards, and Logan Wright will get the first down and more down to the 45-yard line. Pickup of 6 when he needed 1. And that was McRaney on the tackle for the Bulldogs, but not in time.
Instead of the fake handoff to Wright, Jones kept it himself, bouncing on the outside for the first down. But still, one of the things that Chad Lunsford talked about in the quarterback battle was that they had a ton of talent, just not a lot of experience. So that could be the reason why Amari Jones got the start, because he does have prior experience at Tulane.
Amari Jones, the 6-yard pickup for the first down.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
Khalil Crowder, the right guard. One of 5 returning starters for the Eagles on the offensive line.
And throughout the years for Chad Lunsford, the O-line was hit with a ton of injuries, but it's been a blessing for them to get all 5 of their O-line starters through preseason camp, all healthy.
Yeah, going Miller, Dowdell, Langmeyer, Crowder, and Kelly left to right across the front, 1st and 15. Wright gets submarined at the 50-yard line. Short gain on the play.
And that was one way that the O-line was able to build experience. When they had injuries in the O-line front, other guys had to step up, so they all have a ton of experience. And a loss, a small gain actually for Georgia Southern.
2nd down and 13. You see the no-huddle offense. They're going to be 100% no-huddle the entire season, Doug Roos, the OC, says. Play action. Running, throwing on the run, and caught in the gap. And that's going to be a first down catch at the 35-yard line by J.J. McAfee.
A lot of high praise for McAfee, a junior transfer from Georgia Military College. Didn't play in 2020 due to COVID-19. Enrolled to the program in early January, so got some reps in spring training and played in the spring game as well. Offensive coordinator Doug Roos said that he would stand out at 6'3", 220 pounds.
Yeah, he is a big target. When you look at all the other Georgia Southern wide receivers, nobody looks like him on the field. He is a big target out of Ashley Ridge High School in Charleston, South Carolina, by way of Georgia Military College. Jones on the handoff and a 3-yard pickup going to Jalen White. That'll be the first carry of the game for Jalen White.
So now we're seeing the running backs rotate more. White, the sophomore from Daleville, Alabama, had 20 rushes for 86 yards last year.
And White, much like we were talking about J.J. McAfee, he's a different kind of back there. At 6 foot, 210 pounds, he's a combination of speed and power. Running option, Amari Jones made a man miss. And Jones lunges forward to the 25-yard line and picks up another first down.
Well, at Tulane last year, he played in 10 games, rushed for 389 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had the 7th most all-purpose yards in program history the year before that, over 1,600, along with being a quarterback and running the ball as well, also a kick returner and a punt returner.
And of course, at Tulane, he played for former Georgia Southern head coach Willie Fritz. The Green Waves head coach, they put Oklahoma to the test today before falling to the Sooners 40-35 in Norman, a game that was originally scheduled for New Orleans but moved because of the hurricane.
And Oklahoma did a great job making Tulane feel at home. They put the logo on the 25-yard line, and they were the home team in that game. And a big second half, almost pulled the upset out.
So 2nd down and 9 with the ball at the 24-yard line. Under 5.5 minutes to play here in the first half. 10-6 lead for the Eagles. And Jones follows his blocker through the hole down to the 19-yard line. That was Chase Hancock, the tight end, running convoy for him.
Also, Jones was able to get out of the way of Khalil Crowder, who was pulling from the right to the left. Almost got tripped up and managed to get a solid gain.
So 3rd down and 4 with the ball at the 19-yard line. Another solid drive being put together by these Eagles. "13 plays, 56 yards so far. Logan Wright crashes down to the 17, and it's going to be 4th down and about 2.
Bryce Bass, another Georgia kid for Gardner Webb from Stockbridge, Georgia, making a big stop. And at this point, 4th down and 2. Well, Brandon Williams has already showed off his leg, hitting a 49-yarder in the first quarter. He has the confidence. This should be an easy one for him, but instead, Georgia Southern going to stay out there on offense.
Yeah, they brought big Vernell Henshaw in there again to play tight end. And a timeout called by the running Bulldogs.
Timeout. Gardner Webb prior to the snap.
So Gardner Webb burns timeout here on 4th down, and will step aside while they decide what they want to do on defense. Chad Lunsford has decided to keep the offense out there on 4th down and 2. But Danny, they brought in Ken Ransom for the quarterback on this play.
Well, he's almost like another power back at 6'3", 215. Additionally, the Eagles have been 2 for 2 in 4th down completions, 4th down conversions so far.
So you got Ransom at quarterback, you got Logan Wright at running back, and they quickly break the huddle, going for it on 4th down and 2. Ransom wants to throw a pass downfield. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. The tight end, Chase Hancock, slipped in behind the defense. Nobody took him. He was wide open in the end zone.
Well, everybody thought it was going to be a run play. Instead, they go with the play-action rollout. There was nobody on Hancock in the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. And how about that for the true freshman Ransom?
First pass of his college career goes for 6. And Hancock with the touchdown catch. Now the PAT. Mark Langston is the new snapper. He gets it back there perfectly, and the kick is good. And it's a 17-6 lead for Georgia Southern with 4 to play here in the first half. Nicely executed drive, 75 yards, 15 plays, and a touchdown pass from Ransom to Hancock.
Even easier than that. What's in your wallet?
17-6 lead. Georgia Southern. Ken Ransom making his college debut with a 17-yard touchdown pass, and the Eagles have opened up an 11-point lead with 4 minutes to play.
And looking back on that touchdown pass by Ransom, all eyes were on the quarterback. Hancock was able to slip through, barely even touched in the end zone.
Gaither will take it from the 5-yard line. And Gaither all the way up to the 31. And Watson Trent in on that tackle. And a flag down at the 22-yard line.
It was well after Gaither got through. So we'll see who it'll be on.
Jeremy Parker, our referee.
During the return, holding number 43, return team, 10 yards from spot of foul. First down.
Kendall Massey gets flagged for the infraction on the return. And so let's see where that ball ends up being spotted. Way back at the 12-yard line, it looks like. So very poor field position for Bailey Fisher and the running Bulldogs as they go back out on offense.
Still plenty of time. 3:51 to go in the first half. If they can get a touchdown, they'll be feeling good going to the locker room.
73 total yards for the running Bulldogs so far. 75 in the air, -2 on the ground. They have not been able to establish any kind of a running game and still cannot. A.J. Watkins drops the running back in his tracks after a very short game. That was DJ Hancock on his first carry of the game.
Defensive line coach Victor Cabral for Georgia Southern does a tremendous job rotating D linemen in up front. And that time, Watkins, 6'2", 260 pounds, had 12 tackles last season. Great stop on first down.
Tackle for loss on that play, so second down and 11. As the running Bulldogs running game is still in the red. Fisher throws complete to Franklin, and Franklin gets shoved out of bounds. That'll be close to a first down. Looks like it'll spot at the 22.
And you may see just some short passes made by Fisher just to move the ball upfield. As you said, we haven't seen the running game go off.
He's 10 of 13 in the game, Fisher, and man down over there just by the sticks. And it's, I think, one of the crew working the game got wiped out by one of the players over there on the sideline. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, he's a little wobbly. Might need to let him take a seat for a moment.
Yeah, I think that the important thing, though, is that he's up. He is responsive. Yeah, he needs a moment. It can be dangerous for the people working on the sides.
Well, sometimes there's just no place to go.
Right.
I mean, you're just going to take the hit. You got to do your best to absorb that hit. I mean, because those guys are flying at you at full speed, and you just don't have time to react. And even if you did, there's no place to go. So second down and short for Gardner Webb.
It's third down.
Make it third down and short.
The ruling on the field is the runner was short of the line of the game. The previous play is on the further review.
So we're going to look to see whether the first down was picked up or not. The initial ruling on the field was he was short by about half a yard.
So while they're reviewing that previous play, I have to point out that Bailey Fisher has been very effective throughout in the first half. 10 of 13 with 84 yards and a touchdown.
Well, his foot goes out of bounds at the 22.
He's a yard short. Would have been 2 yards short if he didn't get pushed into his teammate. It's not a yard, it's a half a yard.
So that looks like a quick review.
After video review, the runner reached the 23-yard line. Therefore, it's a first down.
They're going to give it to him.
Okay. So a first down, that obviously changes the play selection dramatically here for Trey Lamb and Taylor Lamb in this running Bulldogs offense.
And the Eagles defense has fared well against the Lamb family. You got to remember, Scott Sloan was a coach at Appalachian State when Taylor Lamb was there.
Yeah.
So he faced them a lot in practices. They know what he can do. So a similar style on offense from Gardner Webb.
So 1st and 10 for the running Bulldogs from their own 23. Play action, heavy rush. Pass is dumped downfield and out of bounds.
The pocket was collapsing on Fisher. He did have an open man downfield in Franklin, but just couldn't find him. Just safe to throw it away in that situation.
So 2nd down and 10. Under 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Gardner Webb scored the first touchdown of the game, but Georgia Southern has scored 2 since. Heavy rush again. Springer makes him go one way. Pass is thrown complete at the 29-yard line, and a first down run by Luther. Trey Allen making the tackle, but not before Luther picks up the first down.
They got an empty backfield. They put Gaither in motion. Fisher this time able to find an open man. You see here pressure, able to break past Dylan Springer, almost making the sack. But Luther was open at the sideline.
This is the 4th all-time meeting between these two programs, for the first in nearly 20 years. They haven't played since 2002. Fisher quickly to the sideline, low throw, and that's going to be ruled incomplete. That's the first time they've targeted Quavon Skanes, transfer from UConn, former high school quarterback out of Chicago. 2nd down and 10. The Skanes had 35 catches in the Huskies offense back in 2017 before he started dealing with the injury bug. Played for offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley, who's now the OC at Miami. Hurricanes had a tough day today with Alabama. And Gaither on the run. Actually, that's not Gaither. That's Donovan Jones, the freshman high school star out of Miami. 2A player of the year in that state last year.
First charge, team timeout.
He got stopped for a short gain. 3rd down and 9 coming up, and a timeout call with 2:15 to play in the half.
44-13 was the final score in the Alabama game over Miami, and we'll have more after the break on ESPN3.
Third down and 9 coming up for Gardner Webb after their timeout. And Danny, if they fail to pick up the first down here, do we expect to see Georgia Southern burn a timeout to get the ball back and have a little under 2 minutes left to try to score again?
I think so. I mean, already up by 11, adding one more touchdown would not hurt. Definitely gives them a big lead going to the locker room.
Let's see how they play it here. It really is contingent upon whether Gardner Webb picks up the first down here or not. Fisher going up top and going deep, and it's going to be caught out of bounds. Luther the target inside the 30, but Baker had step-for-step coverage, and now it's going to be 4th down. The clock barely moved down to 2:06, and the Eagles didn't have to burn a timeout. They're going to get the ball back. Plenty of time and 2 timeouts remaining in the half.
Yeah, the running Bulldog, I'm going to punt here. As you saw Fisher go off to the sideline. You know, we talked about Derek Canteen on one end on the defensive back for Georgia Southern, but Darrell Baker Jr. has so much experience throughout his time with the Eagles. Great coverage, forcing the incompletion.
Pulowski stands at his 24-yard line to kick for the running Bulldogs, and Hood deep at the 23 for Georgia Southern. Heavy rush, and he gets it out of there. A high kick that Hood is going to catch on the run at the 25-yard line and get shoved out of bounds at close to the 30. So 1:57 to go, 2 timeouts, and 70 yards to cover for a touchdown, or less than that for a field goal for the Eagles.
I think they'll make it work. The way the offense has been producing so far in the first half, they've shown that they can get the ball downfield. They have plenty of options between Logan Wright Gerald Green and Jalen White. Who knows? We might see Cam Ransom back out there at quarterback. And we will see Ransom back out there at quarterback in potentially the final series in the half.
So Ransom's going to get a chance to run the 2-minute offense here with Logan Wright flanked to his right. Ransom going to throw it again and fire. Complete to Hood up to the 50-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle by Damian Williams. So Cam Ransom comes out firing.
Look, Ransom has an arm. He threw for over 5,000 yards at Armwood High School throughout his career. 59 touchdowns in the air as well.
He's 2 for 2 with a touchdown to start his career. Handoff goes to Logan Wright. Nothing doing that time. A short gain for Georgia Southern as the clock continues to run.
In his senior year, he threw for 1,200 passing yards and 14 touchdowns. So Ransom, you know, with Georgia Southern mainly running a pistol option and running the ball for the most part, he can throw the ball downfield, already has a touchdown.
Going to get a chance to watch it again. Platt pass complete. Down to the 35-yard line. Bo Johnson, the tight end, had 6 catches a year ago before his injury.
And here's one thing you got to point out as well with Ransom being a lefty. The last lefty quarterback to have a completion for Georgia Southern was back in 2008.
Back-to-back catches by Bo Johnson as he is driven out of bounds at the 30-yard line. And the Eagles have quickly moved into field goal range.
So just like that, 1:01 on the clock. They're already at the 30.
31, and remember Britton Williams, who's subbing in for the inactive Alex Rayner, has already kicked a 49-yard field goal in this game. 61 seconds to play in the half. Logan Wright chugs down to the 29, picks up 2 more yards on the play. Clock continues to run.
And now that they're in field goal range, they can have some room to work and still with 2 of their timeouts remaining.
So 3rd down, back to the air they're going to go. Ransom fires to the outside, complete to Wright, and Wright dives for the first down marker at the 24, and it's going to be close as the clock stops with 35 seconds. I don't know that anybody called a timeout, but the clock stopped. Now it's moving again.
Ran out there to talk to the official, but it's going to be 4th and inches.
Going for it on 4th and inches. Wright the first down at the 21. And now a timeout's used.
Yeah, Lunsford.
Or maybe not. No timeout.
I guess not.
They continue to work quickly here. Clock is stopped while they set the chains. Complete to Bo Johnson. 3rd catch on this possession. Out of bounds at the 15-yard line as the Eagles have worked the clock and the field beautifully on this 2-minute drill.
Ransom 5 for 5 on this drive. A perfect 6 for 6 so far in the first half.
So clock stopped 18 seconds and they still have 2 timeouts remaining. So the playbook is wide open right here with those 2 timeouts remaining. You can run the ball if you like. We can go back to the air and see if Ransom can make it 6 for 6. He'll hand off to Jalen White, who runs into the middle of the field and down inside the 10-yard line to the 9 with 12 seconds. And a timeout called by Georgia Southern or not? Nope, they still don't call a timeout.
I mean, they ran the no huddle very well throughout the first half. No need to burn a timeout here.
Jalen White going to get stopped at the 8 with 7 seconds, 6 seconds, and now the timeout is called with 6 seconds left in the half.
Timeout, Georgia Southern. 2nd charge timeout.
There were a couple of times we thought Chad Lunsford would have called a timeout, but the way the Eagles have ran the no-huddle offense, they're just trying to catch Gardner Webb off guard. They don't want to give the running Bulldogs a chance to really think things over. They want to try to score a touchdown off of their mishaps.
Well, what you're doing when you're playing up tempo like that and you're playing no huddle, you allow for no substitutions. So you like the personnel package and the matchup that you got on the field, and you're not letting Gardner Webb make substitutions right there to try to adjust to what you're doing. And I think that was borne out by the fact they moved the ball so quickly against this personnel package. It was working so well. It's like, why give them a chance to set their defense? So now the question comes, with 7 seconds left, the ball at the 8-yard line. They do bring out the field goal unit. I was wondering, with one timeout still remaining, whether they would take a shot at the end zone here. Instead, they're going to go for the field goal, and this is going to be a 25-yarder from the right hash.
It would have been really close for the Eagles to have one more offensive play and try to squeeze that final timeout in. Safe call by Chad Lunsford going for the field goal.
You don't want to miss the opportunity to get the points. Beck puts it down, and Williams pops it through. Second field goal of the game for the freshman playing his first college game. Britton Williams has a 49-yarder and now a 25-yarder and a 14-point lead for Georgia Southern with 3 seconds to play in the half.
So now you go into the locker room, potentially a 2-touchdown lead. Overall, a great first half by the Eagles. I mean, the 2-minute drill worked out for them. Going downfield, getting points on the board.
I got to wonder, Danny, after watching Cam Ransom right there run that 2-minute drill the way he did, pass the ball like he did, whether we're going to see a lot more of him in the second half.
I hope so. I mean, he's picked up the game so much. Doug Ruth, the offensive coordinator, had such high praise for Cam Ransom. He gives him a lot of credit. He came in midsummer, and just to understand the signal system, the play calling, he's been proud of his efforts.
6 for 6, 70 yards, and a touchdown pass for Cam Ransom in very limited work here in the first half. Amari Jones has taken most of the snaps at quarterback tonight. 4 of 5, 45 yards passing, and 11 carries for a total of 30 yards. And a short kick, fair catch is called for, made at the 21. That means that the running Bulldogs get to run one more play from the line of scrimmage by making that fair catch.
Well, we've seen the running Bulldogs offense go 5 wide of an empty backfield. You could see Fishers try and air it out for one final attempt before the first half ends.
And let's see if they heave it deep here or just take a knee. They'll go 3 wides. They got all their starting wide receivers in there. And Fisher will hand off to Gaither, who gets hit in the backfield and takes a loss on the play on the final play. And that was Kevon Glenn, the backup and new inside linebacker, the transfer from Florida State by way of Dutchtown High School, making that tackle. Big first half for Georgia Southern, and a 20-6 lead for the Eagles as they head to the locker room. Sun setting here in Statesboro. Georgia Southern 20-6 lead on Gardner Webb as we start the third quarter of play here at Paulson Stadium. Chad Lunsford, his team, rolling up 261 yards of offense in that first half.
Yeah, and Chad Lunsford also talked about, keys to the game, being able to attack on all cylinders. They've done that. Playing clean football, they've done that as well. Establishing the run, we saw it in the first quarter and opened it up in the passing game in the second quarter. Check that one off as well. And the final thing you need to do is to put the game away. Don't let your foot off the gas in the second half.
And that was a big point of emphasis for this team in the offseason after they let some fourth quarter leads get away from them last year and lost some close games down the stretch last year. So the Eagles receiving the second half kickoff, and I guess the question Eagles fans will have answered here shortly is, how will the quarterback rotation play out here in the second half? Hood will bring it out from 2 yards deep and gets tripped up at the 15-yard line, and he lunges forward to the 17. So not great field position for the Eagles to start this second half.
Well, to answer your question, Matt, Cam Ransom is going to make his way back on the field. He's in the huddle on the sideline right now. He was excellent in that 2-minute drill to end the first half, and he talked about, the offensive coordinator Doug Ruth talked about sticking with the hot hand. So let Ransom go back out there and prove himself some more.
Well, we've seen Ransom throw the ball. It was a much different offense with Ransom running the the offense late. And, of course, the situation, of course, was very different than Amari Jones when he was in there as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they go back to kind of running the quote-unquote regular offense with Ransom at the helm. And they do with Logan Wright right up the middle. And Wright out across the 45 to the 50-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle by Jamari Jenkins.
Logan Wright doesn't make that big run without the extra block by Caleb Kelly on the outside, really opening up space for Wright to cut back inside and make a big run.
And that puts Wright over 100 yards rushing, 15 carries for 107. Ransom going to the air again, complete to Hood. And Caleb Hood's going to be dropped at the 43-yard line. TJ Comstock, the linebacker, making the tackle, but an 8-yard pickup.
It'll be unique to see how the Eagles' offensive line fares with Ransom still out there, because Amari Jones was a right-handed quarterback. Cam Ransom a lefty.
Well, it was funny when we were talking to Doug Roos, the OC, he said, man, left-handed quarterbacks drive me crazy because when I have to go out there and kind of work through the mechanics of the position, I'm right-handed, and to try to demonstrate it left-handed is really tough. And Logan Wright barrels down to the 36-yard line and has another first down.
Well, it's also wide receivers have to get used to the spin of the ball coming in a different way, but that hasn't really stopped them so far tonight. Ransom 7 for 7 now with that previous completion to Caleb Hood, and Logan Wright giving the Eagles another first down.
That was the 17th first down for the Eagles tonight. And Coach Roos said it took them about an hour of practice to adapt to the spin coming at him differently from the left-handed quarterback. Ransom dropping back, hit as he throws, and incomplete. Trying to connect with Logan Wright down the sideline. They got a piece of him as he was throwing, and that's his first incompletion.
Not a bad incompletion to have, because he almost had Wright on the money. They've gotten tapped in the pocket on the throw.
It's going to take more than a tap to bring this fella down. Looks like a defensive end at 6'3", 215. Going to the air again. Now going to run it. Down to the 32. That was Wagner making the tackle for Gardner Webb, and now it's going to be third down and about halfway to go.
This is the first time we've seen Ransom use his feet on the offensive side for Georgia Southern, running up the middle. Short gain.
3rd and 6. Eagles 3 of 8 on third downs, but they're 4 of 4 on fourth downs.
Maybe false start.
False start. Offense. Number 51. 5-yard penalty. Replay. Third down.
Aaron Dowdell, yeah, the 6th-year senior. How strange is that to say 6th-year senior?
And he was preseason second-team Sunbelt offense. Was named that prior to the season beginning.
Making his 30th start. That's the most for the Georgia Southern Eagles on that offensive line. Langmeyer's made 31, but some of his starts came at Jacksonville University before he transferred. Right up the middle, Gerald Green crashes down to the 31.
Gerald Green on the run.
And that'll make it 3rd and 5.
6 yards. A 4th down and 5 yards.
Or 4th down and 5, pardon me.
They switch to Gerald Green. Good blocking on the outside by Khalil Crowder, opening up the hole for Green, and Ransom still out there. They're going to go for it on 4th down. Like he said, 4 for 4 in 4th down conversions.
They did hit a 49-yard field goal. Britton Williams did in the first quarter from about the same spot on the field, but this time they're going to go for it. Bo Johnson in motion. Ransom steps up in the pocket. Now he's going to run and try to get the first down. He fumbled as he was hit. And let's see where they're going to spot that ball out. If it went back beyond the line of scrimmage or beyond the marker, it will not be a first down. The ball is going to go over on downs. Looked like he had a chance to pick up the first down yardage until he got the ball knocked out of his hands.
He had great blocking on the outside. Stiff arm, and it swooped underneath and went out.
That was Damian Williams, the Georgia Tech transfer, came up and made the play for the running Bulldogs. They'll be on offense when we get back. So 1st and 10 for the running Bulldogs as they go on offense for the first time here in the third quarter, down 2 scores. A little more than 3 minutes into this second half. And Fisher rolling to his left, going to throw on the run and complete. And that'll be a first down catch at the 40-yard line by Justin Jordan.
Jordan on the comeback route. Fisher on the rollout for the first down. Expect to see Gardner Webb be more pass heavy in the second half. They haven't really been able to establish any running game.
Fisher now 12 of 19 for 111. This is his debut in a running Bulldogs uniform. Remember, he was at Tennessee Tech the last 2 seasons. Fakes a handoff and now dumps it off to Dalen Thomas, the tight end, and Thomas gets submarined at the 47-yard line, but a nice play right there. That was Birdsong, I believe. The safety came up and hit him low.
Fisher's played well throughout this night. Now 13 of 20. Has been dumping off some good small passes. There you see one to Thomas that gets through. The mix of Canteen and Birdsong on the tackle.
Dalen Thomas with the catch. That gives him 3 for 22 yards in the game. Trey Lamb believes he's going to get a shot at an NFL career. Pass incomplete. Threw it too far for Justin Franklin, the slot receiver.
Well, Thomas already has the size of a tight end at 6'4", close to 240. This is really a nice feeling out process with Fisher and all of his receivers, the transfers that's come in, and some of the true freshmen. And we'll see what they can do here, trying to get a drive going.
And Danny, that was the big concern for Trey Lamb coming into the season. Defense, they were pretty much set. Offense, a lot of new parts, including some new coaches on the offensive side of the ball.
And Taylor Lamb, his cousin, as the offensive coordinator.
3rd down and 2 from the 48. And again, they have trouble with that shovel pass, and Luther picks it up and still picks up the first down. That's the second time they've had trouble with that same play.
Now, hold on. That happened in the first quarter, and they ruled it incomplete. They may go back and rule that an incompletion.
You're right. So Chad Lunsford's over there saying, hey, man, they're going to line up and let it stand. It's going to be ruled incomplete.
There you go. Yeah, you can't have it one way in the first half and another way in the second. You got to keep it consistent the entire way through.
Good call, Danny. Exactly right. So 4th and 2. Let's see if they go for it here from the 48. They're 0 for 1 on 4th downs in this game, and they're going to punt.
It's a 50-50 decision right there. You could have gone for it. They tried to hurry it up to make it 4th and 1. They would have gone for it there, but decided to punt instead.
Well, you're still in the game. Gardner Webb, you're only down 2 touchdowns. It's still, you're still in this game. And why risk it by giving up a short field if you fail to pick up the first down? The Eagles have gotten close to Pulowski's kicks a couple of times in this game. Pulowski gets it out of there. Hood is going to have it hit in front of him at the 20 and go out of bounds, and we'll see where they spot it. Right there about the 15-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will go on offense for a second time in this game.
Beautiful sunset on this Saturday night in Statesboro, Georgia. And for the Eagles, Cam Ransom going to make his way back out. They're not going to penalize Ransom for the fumble on the 4th down. As a freshman, you're going to make some mistakes here and there, but as long as it deteriorates the progression that you're making in the game, keep him out there.
Well, Danny, who we have not seen is Sam Kennerson, who was listed as 1A, 1B Ransom being 1A and Kinnerson 1B going into this game, at least on the depth chart. But Kinnerson has not played at quarterback yet tonight. Majority of the play has been Amari Jones, but it's been Cam Ransom since the end of the first half, late in the first half. Gerald Green gets the handoff, and Green's going to get just a couple of yards on the play before he gets smacked to the ground there at the line of scrimmage. That was Wagner in on that tackle along with Shai Thomas.
Green didn't have much room to work inside. And Thomas is down for Gardner Webb.
Yeah, Thomas, one of their stars on that defensive line, a senior out of Anderson, South Carolina. Played at the famous T.L. Hanna High School. Looks like this might be a cramp. Fortunately, that looks like that's all that is. So they continue to work on him. You know, the quarterback story has been a big one for Georgia Southern all preseason, with Shai Werts electing to continue his career with that extra year of eligibility through COVID, but as a wide receiver at Louisville, and we'll see him on television later this weekend when the Cardinals take on Ole Miss on Monday night. But 3 quarterbacks listed as possibilities going into this game because Justin Tomlin is out for at least 2 games. Well, he's out for 2 games because of his situation. And Coach Lunsford said the Tomlin situation actually has been good for their quarterback room.
Yeah, and they've had Tomlin get reps from the scout team offense to help their defense prepare for the opening night game against Gardner Webb. So it's worked out all around, but it will be unique to see how Ransom progresses throughout this game and next week, how Amari Jones progresses tonight and going to next week. Maybe even Sam Kinnerson, we might see him out today. But their third game when Tomlin's eligible is going to be at Arkansas.
Yeah. So 2nd down and 7. Ransom to the air, quick fire, complete to McAfee up to the 30-yard line, and that'll be a first down as McAfee makes his 2nd catch as an Eagle. And going back to the subject about the game at Arkansas, I mean, it's not like Tomlin's a seasoned starter. His role in the past has been a spot starter, and then last year when Werts got hurt, he became the starter. But he's not a seasoned quarterback. Any one of these guys getting experience here in these first 2 games could easily be in a position to be the starter against Arkansas. That said, Lunsford says that Tomlin right now is the starting quarterback, and if he wasn't ineligible for the academic reason, he would be playing tonight.
Right, but you never know. If the other quarterbacks like Ransom, Jones, and Kinnerson do play well, yes, Justin Tomlin will be QB1, but we could see other quarterbacks get some playing time throughout the season along with Tomlin.
I mean, you think about it. Do you want a quarterback going into that Arkansas game who hasn't taken a snap in the regular season yet?
Well, Georgia Southern years ago have gone for 2 quarterback system. They had Kevin Ellison as a starter, and Fabian Upshaw started a couple of games as well.
Gerald Green right up the middle. Green finally dragged down at the 40-yard line. Big gainer for Gerald Green.
And Green had some explosive moments in 2020, continuing here again. Good blocking by the O-line, breaks the tackle. Jamari Jenkins was almost there. And there's been a lot of touchdown-saving tackles on behalf of Gardner Webb. That time, A.J. Thomas gets there in time.
10 carries, 70 yards for Green. And now 229 yards rushing for the Eagles in this game. Green gets the ball again, and this time just a couple of yards on the play, as the running Bulldogs are there to blow it up pretty quick.
38-yard line.
Ty French, the young man out of Colquitt County, making that tackle. Number 11 for the running Bulldogs. He was a finalist for the Jerry Rice Award, which goes to the top freshman in FCS football. Big South Defensive Player of the Year as a freshman back in the spring. Quick fire, pass complete to Hood. He got stuck. Nice open field tackle, and then a fumble at the end of the play. I think they're going to rule incomplete. That was Damian Williams breaking up the play.
I don't think he had beautiful completion on that catch. And notice here, we've seen these quick 3, 4, 5 yard passes from Ransom. They've worked out well so far. Here's another look. Yeah, while he was going down.
I'm not so certain.
Well, I think they're going to say that it was a fumble and that he was able to get back on it in time because 3rd down and 8.
Ransom hit as he throws. Was trying to go over to the right side, and Derwin Burgess was the intended target, and now it's going to be 4th down.
At that time, the running Bulldogs brought the house up the middle. It's the first time we've seen Ransom truly pressure like that. Yeah, he's gotten tapped here and there, but this is really the first time we see Ransom in trouble.
So looks like they have not yet brought the kicking unit, either field goal or punt, on the field. This would be an extremely long field goal right here. This would be 50+.
Why not have Britton Williams do it? He hit one from 49.
They're going to run the play clock all the way down and I believe burn a timeout or take the penalty, one or the other.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Previous.
So they want to give Anthony Beck some space.
Plenty of room. This will be his first punt of the season. He has not punted yet tonight.
It's a big accomplishment from Georgia Southern's offense. I mean, they've gone for it on majority of the 4th downs. They've kicked some field goals. The first time we'll see Anthony Beck out there, preseason Sun Belt Conference 2nd team in special teams.
Yeah, just under a 42-yard kick average last year. Had 950+, 14 inside the 20, 24 fair catches. Stands at his own 42 to kick it. No rush. And then an end-over-end kick that's going to drop down at the 10-yard line. Catch made by Skanes right there, and that's where the running Bulldogs will be going back on offense when we get back. Running Bulldogs going back on offense as they started their 10-yard line with just under 7 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. Matt Stewart along with Danny Waugh. Bailey Fisher, 13 of 22 passing for 121 and a touchdown as they start this series. Fisher to the air, throws short over there at the 16-yard line. And Danny, a lot of scores in the Sun Belt, and most interesting right now, Texas State with a lead at home on Baylor.
That's right, up 10-7 right now with some time remaining in the 2nd quarter. Also, Troy up 28-3 over Southern. Central Arkansas 7-3 lead over Arkansas State. And South Alabama and Southern Miss just getting underway. Kentucky beat Louisiana Monroe earlier, 45-10. Army 43-10 win over Georgia State, and 21-ranked Texas 38-18 win over 23rd-ranked Louisiana.
Pass is thrown complete out there to Luther, spins out of the tackle and down the sideline. Luther still on the sideline and going down the sideline, finally steps out of bounds at the 40, or make that the 34-yard line. I don't know how he eluded all those tackles, but a huge gain by TJ Luther.
He found a way to stay on the sideline. Here you see making the completion, breaks one tackle, gets past Zion McGee, gets past another man, just tried to tiptoe on the sideline as much as he could. A big gain.
Yeah, Luther, who had a 41-yard touchdown pass reception for the Bulldogs, only score so far. They're going to really step out at the 50-yard line and not at the 34. And now a halfback pass wide open, and that's going to be a touchdown for Gardner Webb. Justin Jordan wide open.
Some trickery from Gardner Webb. I thought it was going to be just an out pass, screen pass on the near side.
And so did the Eagles. Fell asleep on this one. And that is Justin Franklin, who was a stellar quarterback in his day at Douglas County High School, threw a perfect strike to Justin Jordan for the score. And he was an outstanding quarterback at Douglas County High School. The only thing that prevented him from being a quarterback at this level is his size. He's only 5'9".
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay the try.
He was ranked 62 in the nation as an athlete, along with being a receiver, a quarterback, and a defensive back as well. And showing that quarterback display. He was also the Region 5 6A Athlete of the Year.
Yep.
An all-state selection by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So he can do a little bit of everything and puts it on display.
Well, he just threw a 50-yard touchdown pass in his first collegiate game of his career. McKay on for the PAT, and he missed it. Worst fears coming true for head coach Trey Lamb. He told us their kicking game had been highly inconsistent in preseason, and McKay misses the PAT, and the score remains 20-12.
Well, that explains on the first touchdown they scored, they went for 2. And yeah, kicking was not where it needed to be at the moment. Austin McKay, a junior, has been on the team all 3 years, but his first season this year, getting a chance to kick.
That is a little bit deflating after the big trick play by Gardner Webb put the Bulldogs back on the board with the 50-yard touchdown pass from Justin Franklin to Justin Jordan. So now the Eagles have their antennas up for any more trick plays as Gardner Webb has cut the Georgia Southern lead to 8.
Also, the big question is, will we see Amari Jones back out at quarterback for Georgia Southern? Because the last 2 drives for the Eagles resulted in a turnover on downs and a punt. And that was when Cam Ransom was the quarterback in those 2 drives.
So Dominic Sojak from Croatia is their kickoff man, and he drops it at the 2-yard line. And Caleb Hood up to the 21 and no more. And we might have an Eagle player down. That may be Pelkison, who's the number 3 tight end, is hobbling and favoring his right knee.
That's something you don't want to see. Last season, the tight end department was heavily hit with injuries. Bo Johnson missed half the season. Chase Hancock missed the last 3 or 4 games of the season. Pelkinson stepped up in those final few games. And it looks like Amari Jones will step back out as quarterback for the Eagles.
So Amari Jones back in there, taking the snaps. 11 carries, 30 yards, 4 of 5 for 45 yards passing. And only an 8-point lead for the Eagles right now. Jones running option, got stuck right there at the line of scrimmage. Just a 1-yard gain as Jamari Jenkins, the free safety, came up and nailed it.
Jenkins was not going to fall for any trickery by Jones. Waited for the right moment and stuck him.
Now running option to the near side. And the pitch. And Logan Wright steps out of bounds at the 33-yard line, and that'll be a first down as Wright continues to add to his total. He's up over 120 yards rushing.
He was wasting no time going back, continuing that no-huddle offense. You see here Jones waited at the last second. Jeremy Mitchell was there to meet Jones and got it out to Wright for a first down.
Mari Jones not going anywhere.
Yeah, 3 men on the outside by Gardner Webb. Had Jones and the pitch man covered.
So 2nd down and 9 after a short gain. Jones throws a screen pass and Wright cannot come up with it. Heavy pressure coming off the edge by the running Bulldogs, and they're playing with a lot more enthusiasm on the defensive side after they scored that touchdown on offense.
Yeah, Trey Lamb talked about keeping an eye on the dive man, the alley man, and the pitch man. They've done that superiorly well here in this series.
So 3rd down and 8 from the 35. While the Eagles have a rather sizable advantage statistically, it's only an 8-point game right now. And Amari Jones flushed out of the pocket. He's being chased by the defense and picks up the first down. Wow. You saw the athleticism of Amari Jones right there. Looked like he was headed for the safe haven of the sideline and just cut upfield and picked up the first down.
Well, while Jones was running on the outside, take a look here. He bounces out. He's calling for Caleb Hood, saying, go, block. And wow. Stops right there, gets past Comstock, and Hood on the block from the outside was able to help Jones get a first down.
Amazing little play right there where you can stick your foot in the ground and change directions and cut up field, and that picked up the first down. Logan Wright picks up 7 down to the 43. McRaney making the tackle for the Bulldogs.
So after the 15-yard gain by Jones, Logan Wright gained 7.
Wright again muscles his way forward for the first down. So Wright gets another 6 or 7 on that carry.
Over 130 yards on the ground by Wright. Now they're going back with Wright being the number 1 guy, similar to how they started the first quarter. In this situation, now where it's a one-possession game, you want to go back to what got you ahead to start.
19 carries for 137 yards for Wright. 273 on the ground for the Eagles. Amari Jones spin move down to that 27-yard line.
Chase Hancock, the tight end, making that play happen for Jones with the block on the inside. Gave Jones an alley, and he got through. Big gain of 9. 8, I should say.
So 2nd down and 1. Handoff, Wright bounces off 2 men, cuts to the outside, inside the 10, and finally shoved out of bounds by Williams inside the 5.
That's one of Logan Wright's strong suits, able to absorb contact off the first hit and keep pounding through. Handoff to the left, good block by Crowder. Absorbed that first contact, bounced outside, and Damian Williams knocking him out of bounds, saving a touchdown.
1st and goal to go for the Eagles from the 5-yard line. A strong answer by Georgia Southern after surrendering the 50-yard trick play touchdown. They've gone 9 plays on 74 yards. Amari Jones, no running room, cuts back inside. Jamari Jenkins making the tackle, but only a 1-yard gain.
It was met by McRaney and another defender. Jones really had nowhere to go there.
Still was able to manage to get about half a yard on the play. 2nd down and goal. Approaching 1 minute to play here in the 3rd quarter. Logan Wright down to the 1.5.
And the way Wright has been getting those 4 or 5-yard plays for the Eagles this offensive series, I wouldn't be surprised if they go to him again. 3rd down, inside the 2. It worked for Gerald Green in the first half.
I mean, who's making the business decision to step in front of 6 foot, 230 pounds? That's what it comes down to. Might be the final play of the quarter right here. And Janathan Turner throws Logan Wright for a huge loss.
Well, he was the one that stepped up. 6'3", 306 pounds, meeting Logan Wright in the backfield. And I think that's going to end the 3rd quarter. Georgia Southern may not have enough time to get that field goal off.
And the quarter comes to a close before they can kick it. So they'll kick it on the other side of the field. But how about Janathan Turner coming up with the huge play for Gardner Webb on defense as we head to the fourth. We start the fourth quarter to the tunes of Journey and Don't Stop Believing. And right now, Gardner Webb is singing that tune after coming up with a huge fourth down stop. And a field goal opportunity here for the Eagles to start this final period. Britton Williams has already kicked 2 tonight. And this will be number 3, at least his 3rd attempt from the 22-yard line. Kick is on its way, and it's good. And Britton Williams forced into play tonight as the redshirt sophomore and number 1 kicker, Alex Rayner, inactive tonight, has been perfect on his field goal attempts, and Georgia Southern has an 11-point lead.
And no Rayner, no problem. Britton Williams, his collegiate debut from Richmond Hill, a 49-yarder to start, and that just makes the rest of them pretty much set no problem at all. I mean, 25 yards, this one 20.
But Danny, that's a huge moral victory in my book for Gardner Webb. Georgia Southern had driven 13 plays, 73 yards after giving up the 50-yard touchdown pass, and seemed to be poised to punch it in for a touchdown and have, a 15, 16-point lead here early in the fourth quarter. Instead, Janathan Turner comes with a huge stop on 3rd down to force him into the field goal attempt.
Yeah, in situations like this, you have to take it one play at a time, and that's what Gardner Webb did. Turner, big stop, forcing the field goal for Georgia Southern. And now some confidence on the side of Gardner Webb for their offense. Bailey Fisher has played pretty much a clean game, 14 of 24 for 161 yards. Mainly been short passes that's been moving the ball downfield.
They've had a couple of big plays. His 41-yard touchdown pass to T.J. Luther, and then the 50-yard touchdown pass from Justin Franklin to Justin Jordan. And the ball is going to scoot into the end zone, so that'll be a touchback as Gardner Webb will take over at the 25-yard line. So even though the Eagles have outgained Gardner Webb 439 to 234, over 200 yards more, running Bulldogs are still hanging around in this ballgame.
It's been the big plays that's kept them within this game. So we'll see if Fisher can generate another big play for the running Bulldogs.
You see the cannon smoke. It's still drifting across the field as the running Bulldogs go on offense from their 25. Quick pass out there to Luther, trying to set up a screen. They had Dalen Thomas, the tight end, out there blocking for him, and he picks up 5 on the play.
That cannon has gone off a lot throughout this game. With this being the season opener, this is usually the thing at Georgia Southern the last couple of years. It catches us off guard up here from the broadcast booth.
That was an 8-yard pickup instead of 5, out to the 33. Now Fisher, pressure coming off the edge from the corner, and a pass that is complete to Skanes at the 43-yard line, and that'll be the first catch for Quavon Skanes.
It's got to feel good for Skanes to not play in 2020, transferring from UConn. And even in 2019, he was just a primary return man, only had 1 reception touchdown.
Battled some injuries after he had 35 catches in 2017. And that's Gaither on the run. Wright makes the tackle at the 46-yard line. That'll be a 4-yard pickup.
And just the 4th carry tonight from Gaither.
How about the night for C.J. Wright? He's got 4 solo tackles, a sack, and 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hurry. He has been all over the place. He's not your typical nose tackle at 6 foot 285. Generally speaking, the nose tackle is going to run about 40 or 50 pounds heavier than him, maybe be 3 or 4 inches bigger than him, but he uses his quickness and his twitchiness to get to the quarterback. Heavy rush coming from the linebacker, and incomplete as Marquez Watson-Trent got a hit on Fisher as he was letting go of the ball.
Well, it's also C.J. Wright's strength that makes him so efficient up front at the nose. I mean, he squats over 600 pounds, benches over 400 pounds. He holds that physicality of it with explosive power, which allows him to play well.
Yeah, he can tee off on the center, or he's quick enough to shoot the 8 gaps. That's what makes him so effective. As you saw, Marquez Watson Trent, new Will linebacker this year, replacing Todd Bradley Glenn, the 6-year senior. Unfortunately, suffered a career-ending arm injury in preseason camp. Setting up the screen pass and nearly intercepted by Bride. Bride in there at corner nearly picked off the screen pass.
And with that, Gardner Webb's going to punt. It's more pressure by the defensive line. This is a senior-led defensive line with C.J. Wright, Justin Ellis, and Dylan Springer. Not to mention A.J. Watkins, the junior, Brandon Wilson, a sophomore, and Parker Devine, who we haven't seen but made great strides in practice.
Yeah, hard to replace Raymond Johnson, who's made the 53-man roster with the New York Giants. Congratulations to him.
Can't wait to see what he does this year for the Giants.
Pulowski, this is a sidewinding kick that's going to go out of bounds. Let's see where they spot that. And Pulowski looks like he ended up on his backside. Might have been some contact down there, but there is no flag. But maybe he came down awkwardly on his ankle. We'll take a look and see what happened. Yeah, he just twisted his ankle. It was not contact with a Georgia Southern defender. And while they tend to him, we'll step aside. Here's a look at the next 11 games for the Georgia Southern Eagles. On the road at Florida Atlantic next Saturday, a team they beat 20-3 here in December. And then on the road at Arkansas and the Sun Belt opener on September 25th against the Western Division champion Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
It's going to be a big challenge for Georgia Southern. They'll have to figure out the quarterback situation quickly before the conference opener.
Ransom back in there, fires. It was nearly picked off at the 43-yard line. Deontay Greer nearly with the pick.
I don't recall the last time we've seen so many passes from Georgia Southern in a game. That's a combined 12 of 18. Make that 12 of 19 now. And yeah, almost picked off by Greer.
So second down and 10. Ransom now 8 of 12 through the air. 90 yards. Now he's going to run it. Very short gain for Ransom on that play. Stopped at the 31-yard line. Pickup of 2. Third down and 8.
Quarterback keeper, nowhere to go. This is going to be a unique situation for Ransom. Third down and 8. We've seen some short passes. Logan Wright is going to be lined up next to him. You also have Caleb Hood and Emil Smith on the far side.
Eagles 4 of 12 on third down. They're 4 of 5 on fourth down. Running Bulldogs showing blitz, and they're bringing it. They pick it up. Ransom throwing on the run and deep downfield, and it is caught and then dropped. I thought Emil Smith had caught it, but he could not hold on to it, and it's fourth down.
That was a good throw by Ransom. You see, he had some time, rolled out to his left. For a moment, I thought he was going to throw to Hood. And Smith had it, but I think coming down, Deontay Greer may have knocked it out of his hands.
Yeah, Greer was able to separate him from the ball. And it's fourth down, and Beck on the punt again. Scaines is deep. And Beck, wobbly kick, going to land in Scaines' hands. And he got dropped immediately at the 25-yard line. Great punt coverage by Najee Thompson, the special teams wizard for the Eagles. Gardner Webb going back on offense, down 11 with 12 to play when we get back.
Well, good for me. What do you think? Geico.
Here's a look at Gardner Webb, their next 11 coming up. They've got Charlotte next, of course. The Charlotte team defeated Duke last night. Will Healy their head coach. Huge win for the 49ers over the Duke Blue Devils. Then their home opener is Lincoln.
Absolutely, and if Gardner Webb continues to play moderately well here tonight against Georgia Southern, they can carry that momentum into Charlotte.
Fisher back to pass, drops it in there to Luther. And Luther stepped out of bounds on his curl back into the field, but another big catch for Luther, who's over 100 yards receiving in this game. That's his 5th catch.
Luther looking like wide receiver number 1 out of the multiple transfers for the running Bulldogs. That time, great throw by Fisher. Luther was surrounded by 3 Eagles.
Yeah, Luther with a 41-yard touchdown catch in this game. A Florida kid, a transfer out of Wofford. Played for the Terriers. It's 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. And Gaither, first big run for Nari Gaither in this game.
His longest run prior to that was an 8-yard carry. That time a run of 7. Makes it 2nd down and 3.
That was Kadri Jackson, the transfer from North Carolina, who made the tackle. One of the 2 Power 5 transfers the Eagles picked up at that inside linebacker position. You see Kevon Glenn, number 11, the other out of Florida State. So both those guys getting run here together in this 4th quarter. They dump it off to Dalen Thomas, who could not hold on to it. Nearly tipped it up in the air for Derek Canteen, who was trailing on the play.
Yeah, you got to catch that. It would have been a 1st down for Gardner Webb if Thomas would have held on.
So 3rd down and 3. Glanced off his fingertips and nearly a few more feet from bouncing into the arms of Derek Canteen, who would have had a pick 6. Running Bulldogs 3 of 7 on their 3rd downs in this game. This is a big one right here on 3rd and 3 from the 47. Play action, going up top, going for it all, and Luther catches it at the 15-yard line, hauled down by Baker at the 6.
That offensive set was tight for Gardner Webb, and they had 1 man deep, and it's been the same guy that's been efficient all evening in TJ Luther. Gets past Baker, and Baker able to save a touchdown. But big momentum for the running Bulldogs.
1st and goal to go from the 6. And Jalen Graham gets dropped for a 2-yard loss. Anthony Wilson, the strong safety, coming up from his DB position to get that TFL.
The first carry for Graham since C.J. Wright met him in the backfield in the 1st quarter.
So 2nd down and goal.
This is really the first time we've seen some red zone offense from Gardner Webb. It's going to be unique to see what they can do.
Yeah, their other 2 touchdowns have been a 41-yard touchdown pass from Fisher to Luther and a 50-yard touchdown from Franklin to Jordan. Now it's 2nd down and goal. They spotted the ball back at the original line of scrimmage, the 6. Fisher throwing, got his tight end, Dalen Thomas. Touchdown, Gardner Webb. And it's 23-18.
They want to go for 2.
Well, yeah. They're down 5. You don't need a kicking game in this situation.
Thomas has been very efficient. He bobbled a previous attempt, but that time hangs on, and easy touchdown for the running Bulldogs.
4th catch of the game for Thomas. 2nd touchdown pass for Bailey Fisher, who's now at 2:45 for the game. So the running Bulldogs line up for the 2. Low snap, Fisher picks it up, hit as he throws, incomplete, and the score remains 23-18. And we got a game, 9.5 to play here in Statesboro. The Eagles holding on to a 5-point lead on FCS Gardner Webb.
I'm serving you with a purpose.
Vic Carball working with his position group, the defensive line over there. Georgia Southern holding on to a 5-point lead. Now it's incumbent upon the Eagles offense, Danny, to put together a drive. Preferably score points, but definitely shoot time off the clock.
Well, one guy that Gardner Webb has had trouble with all night has been Logan Wright, and that's where you stick to your bread and butter. Stick with what's been making you productive all evening. Logan Wright so far tonight, 22 carries, 158 yards. Just run the clock out. 9.5 minutes. Time to get going.
Kickoff from Sojat is taken by Hood at the 11, and Caleb Hood gets wrestled to the ground much like a calf at the rodeo.
For a split second, the ball almost left Hood as well. But able to hang on, the flag is thrown.
So let's check the flag as well. Let's see who's this. Is it going against the Eagles or the Running Bulldogs?
During the return, personal foul, face mask. Kicking team, 15 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
Well, that's a very unfortunate penalty for Gardner Webb because this is going to put the Eagles up close to midfield.
Take a look from the back camera. Hood broke a couple of tackles.
Yeah, there's the face mask right there. And that's why he was able to pull him down like he was a calf in the rodeo, because he had a grip on his face mask. So the ball we spotted at the 43-yard line.
Darius Huff was the one that committed the face mask penalty for Gardner Webb.
Jones running option, Wright the trailer, pitch goes to him, bounces off one tackle, and Wright picks up another 5 yards on the play up to the 48. He's the one thing that Gardner Webb has not been able to stop tonight.
Yeah, along with that, Georgia Southern going back with their experienced players. Amari Jones back in at quarterback. We saw great strides from Cam Ransom, but it's the fourth quarter. You want to put this game away. That's one thing Chad Lunsford talked about in our pregame meeting.
Here's one of the drawbacks of playing a FCS team. When you're the FBS team, anything outside of winning big is a disappointment for folks. Amari Jones down the sideline. Stutter steps, might have stepped out of bounds back around the 25 or 30, but a big game by Amari Jones. What I was getting ready to say, we saw just last night South Dakota State beat Colorado State.
Yeah, that's incredible. And Georgia Southern does not want a repeat of last season when they opened up against Campbell. That came down to the final plays, 27-26 with the Eagles getting the win.
Let's see where they spot him out. About the 19s where they're going to spot him out. And so 1st and 10 for the Eagles. Big run by Amari Jones. That puts him at 92 yards rushing on 17 carries. Logan Wright moves the pile 5 yards more for Logan Wright. He's at 153 for the game. Unfortunately, his helmet came off, which means he's got to come off the field.
So in this situation, it will probably be what's going to be Jalen White.
Going a little bit more power back here, kind of match what Logan Wright gives you. But White's had 3 carries for 10 yards so far in this game. Jones weaving his way through the defense, down inside the 10, picks up the first down. So 1st and goal to go for the Eagles.
So in this situation, Logan Wright back in. They're going to keep feeding him the ball. That previous play, Amari Jones, the quarterback keep, having White as a distraction. We'll see what they can do.
And Danny, the last time the Eagles were down inside the 10, 1st and goal to go, a big play by Janathan Turner forced him to settle for a field goal. They've got to score a touchdown right here, because a field goal would make it only an 8-point lead.
Ty French that time for Gardner Webb met Logan Wright in the middle. This is where your veteran leaders come in. And for French, a sophomore, but the way he's played and being the Big South Defensive Player of the Year in the spring, you got to go to your go-to guys.
So 2nd down and goal to go. Ball at the 8. Jones running option. Wright takes the pitch. Wright takes it in. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. Huge touchdown answer by Georgia Southern right there to rebuild a double-digit lead.
That time option play. Jones went to the last second. Pitched out to Wright. Wright with his first touchdown.
Let's see, here comes the swinging gate play as they bring the offensive line around.
Another look. Jones, once he knew, had a defender following him, pitched it out in time for a touchdown.
PAT up and good. 12-point lead for the Eagles with 6.5 to play. A little bit of breathing room for Georgia Southern as they cap a 6-play, 42-yard drive with an 8-yard touchdown run by Logan Wright.
Even easier than that. What's in your wallet?
6.5 minutes to play. Georgia Southern reopening a 12-point lead after that touchdown drive as the Eagles trying to battle off this FCS opponent from the Big South Conference, Gardner Webb.
Yeah, we've seen some back and forth between both teams in the fourth quarter. Let's see if Gardner Webb can continue that momentum on the offensive side.
The kick will be taken by Gaither at the 8. And Dexter Carter with the special teams kickoff coverage tackle at the 25.
There was a scuffle there at the end. Both players trying to get out of the way. So now we'll see if Bailey Fisher goes with more deep ball plays. Now with time running out of the 6.5 minutes, you want to be able to go downfield and score, and then hope that your defense can make a great stop on the other end. And that way have enough time after that to get the ball back for another score. It's a 2-possession game, so you got to act fast here on this drive.
They do have all 3 timeouts remaining, so they can save those for defense if they can score to try to get a stop on Georgia Southern and get the ball back. Heavy rush, and Fisher had to get it out of there quickly because Josue was breathing down his neck, and Dalen Thomas could not come up with the catch.
I also wonder if Georgia Southern's going to double team some of the receivers. I mean, the primary target has been TJ Luther, also Dalen Thomas on some short plays. That time.
Or just dial up the pressure and make Fisher throw the ball quickly.
Yeah.
2nd down and 10, ball at the 25. You see the number 1 inside linebackers in the game again, Trey Allen and Watson Trent. Quick pass out. Dalen Thomas threw it behind him. They're trying to set up a screen with Dalen Thomas out there, and it's going to be 3rd down and 10.
I don't think Thomas was ready for that at all. I mean, you had 3 receivers on the near side. You had good blocking. Back-to-back missed opportunities for Thomas, and I think he's going to get taken out of the game for a moment.
So 3rd down and 10. Skanes, Franklin, and Huff at the top of your screen, the wide receivers for the running Bulldogs. Wright chasing, throwing, complete to Skanes, and let's see where they're going to spot him out. He was close to the 1st down, and I believe they're going to give him the yardage, and that's going to be a 1st down catch by Skanes.
Well, a good play for a 1st down for Gardner Webb. I'm surprised that Fisher went for Skanes.
Marquez Watson Trent is injured over on the sideline for the Eagles, and he's holding his left knee. Eagles medical staff over there tending to him right now. And it looks like he got caught up in the traffic over there on the sideline after Skanes had made his catch, and we'll take a timeout as they tend to him. Marquez Watson Trent was taken to the medical tent. He was able to walk off the field under his own power, but watch 33 is actually friendly fire. Looks like he was taken out by Derek Canteen, his own player, his teammate.
I think also the way he landed afterwards would have hindered him a bit too.
Gaither coming to this near side, cannot outrun Josue, who drops him at the 37-yard line after just a 2-yard gain. Going to be 2nd down and 8.
Not much production on the runs tonight for Gardner Webb, but even if it's 2 yards, as long as you move the ball downfield, that's all that matters.
Looks like they have Kaji Jackson in there in place of Marquez Watson Trent. Quick pass, Dalen Thomas, submarine by Bride, and just a 2-yard pickup. The corner, Bride, who gives up a lot of weight in that mismatch there. 180 to Thomas's 238, took him out.
Yeah, he was there, and also Randy Wade Jr. was there on the outside. Now 3rd down and 6. Expect Fisher to go look further downfield.
Line to gain is the 45 as we approach 5 minutes to play. Fisher changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Rolling to his right, throwing on the run, drops it in there beautifully to Franklin for a 1st down at the other 45.
Well, Justin Franklin, a touchdown pass earlier in the 2nd half. And now with that catch, his 2nd. To make that his 3rd catch on the night.
Yeah, he's had a good game.
I mean, Bailey Fisher has been distributing the ball throughout his receivers throughout the whole night.
Handoff goes to Hancock this time. Hancock got a couple of yards on the play and no more. And a flag down on the play at the 42-43, about the point of the tackle.
See Chad Lunter out there having a word with the official
Illegal
as well.
substitution. Defense, 12 men on the field. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 1st down.
It's like a man didn't get off the field in time.
Yeah, so the running Bulldogs were able to catch the Bulldogs in transition there, trying to get a substitution in and out of the game before Fisher could snap it, and they didn't. So a 5-yard mark off, 1st and 5 from the 40. Don't be surprised if Fisher and the running Bulldogs take a shot right here on 1st and 5. Instead, handoff and a big gaping hole for Donovan Jones. Jones all the way down to the 21. We have not seen much of Donovan Jones tonight, but that was a big gain right there on just his 2nd carry of the game.
That may be the biggest carry and biggest run all night for Gardner Webb in a no huddle.
Franklin setting up a screen for him. He's down inside the 9-yard line. And that'll stop the clock to move the chains with 3:44 to play.
They want to save all 3 of their timeouts under 4 minutes to go, so see what they can do.
Quick pass to Thomas, and Dalen Thomas gets stopped by Wilson inside the 10.
If they can save all 3 of their timeouts for defense, that's going to be the plan.
If they can get a score right here, they still have a shot. Because as you mentioned, they do have those 3 timeouts. They don't have to onside kick. 2nd down and 7. Play action, fake to one side and leveled by Wade, but he was able to get rid of the ball. And you see the official pointing at Franklin. There was a receiver in the area, so no flag on that for intentional grounding.
Yeah, some of the Georgia Southern coaches were calling for grounding there, but there was a man on the far side for Fisher to throw to. Just got it out in time before Randy Wade Jr. sent him down.
3rd down and 7. You saw the Eagles. They've been effective a couple of times here, bringing pressure off that edge. Let's see if they try to dial up pressure here on this 3rd down and 7.
I'm not sure if a fade route will do it here. You got to just go for it in the end zone.
Timeout, Gardner Webb, prior to the snap.
Wow.
1st charge timeout.
So Gardner
32nd
Webb
timeout.
burns the timeout right there. You know they wanted to save those timeouts for when they were on defense. At the same time, 3rd and 7, this is a critical play. Those timeouts on defense don't mean anything if you don't score here.
Right, and I think Trey Lamb calling that timeout wants to make sure he knows what play he wants to run. They've gone hurry-up offense in these last few minutes. It's actually Georgia Southern that calls a timeout here. So more so, Chad Lunsford wants to take a deep breath because they have been. Gardner has been going no huddle the last couple of plays.
3:05, please.
So going to reset the clock to 3:05. They initially said the timeout was Gardner Webb, which surprised us. The timeout by Georgia Southern, of course, makes a lot more sense in this scenario.
And that's an advantage for Trey Lamb. Doesn't have to burn a timeout here. Gets to talk with his offense. It'll be interesting to see what Georgia Southern here does on defense, because the last time the running Bulldogs were in the red zone, they scored.
31-year-old Trey Lamb. You saw a good shot of him right there and just how young he is. Another in a long line of the Lamb family coaching tree in high school football and in college. 3rd down and 7 right here. Huge play for both sides of the ball. Pocket for Fisher, going for the fade in the corner. Jump ball, it's caught for a touchdown. Justin Franklin comes down with it. Touchdown, Gardner Webb. And it's 30-24.
Taking a look here, Fisher got it off right in time before C.J. Wright came through all the way at the end. Franklin jumping over Anthony Wilson, stayed inside. Wilson and Canteen thought it was incomplete. Officials say touchdown, running Bulldogs.
Let's see if they reviewed this, because I think his back leg may have come down out of bounds. You see them rule. Now, his left leg did come down in bounds, but I'm thinking that his right leg might have come down out of bounds before his left leg hit inbounds.
Well, they're not going to review it. Well,
they are going to review it.
It's a touchdown. That play is under video review.
Watch the replay, and unless my eyes are tricking me, his right leg actually hits down out of bounds before his left leg comes down inbounds.
This is going to be a crucial replay. It's going to be close.
So watch. No, it didn't. His left leg does hit on. His left leg hits inbound before the right leg comes down.
Yeah, he got the left leg down first.
Yeah, it did. See, I thought his right leg may have come down first, but his left leg comes down first. That is a touchdown. They got it right on the field. So that's a great touchdown catch by Justin Franklin. What a debut for Justin Franklin, the freshman out of Douglas County High School.
Well, that and then the debut for Bailey Fisher for Gardner Webb. First game, 294 yards. That's his 3rd touchdown pass.
Yeah. Well, they knew Bailey Fisher. They knew that commodity. He had done it in the OVC.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he was a proven commodity. And Franklin was a proven commodity in high school, but as Coach Sloan told us, there's a big difference from going from Friday night to Saturday.
Ruling on the field, a touchdown is confirmed.
It is. It's right. That's the right call.
Well, what a showing from Franklin. Passing touchdown, now receiving touchdown tonight.
And Luther, 164 in the air. Any concerns that Trey Lamb had about continuity and the transfers and all that kind of stuff, he doesn't have to worry about that anymore, I don't think.
This is a tremendous first outing for this Gardner Webb team and Trey Lamb.
McKay on for a PAT to try to make it a 5-point game, which he does. And it's 30-25. And remember, Gardner Webb was not called for that timeout. They changed it to Georgia Southern. So the running Bulldogs have all 3 timeouts remaining, which means they don't have to onside kick here.
Not at all. And so send it all the way downfield. Hope your defense can stop Georgia Southern's running game. I mean, They have had trouble stopping Logan Wright, so that's going to be the key here. Who's going to be your go-to guy on defense? We've seen plays from Jonathan Turner. Ty French has been involved as well. It's going to be those two guys up front to set the tone.
Yeah, the Eagles have rushed for 364 yards tonight. It's a rare game when they don't win with over 300 yards rushing. Wright has gone for 178. Amari Jones, 96. Basically all of it out of the quarterback position. None as a running back. And Green was 72 yards rushing. 5.9 yards per carry, the average for the Eagles tonight. Yet here they are, going to hammer out a couple of first downs. They don't have to score anymore, but they have to get a first down. One first down will win it for them, basically.
The big story in the second half is the resiliency of Gardner Webb to hang on as long as they have been.
Yeah, this was a 20-6 game. They have outscored the Eagles 19-10 in the second half. And so the ball's going to come out to the 25-yard line. No time ticks off the clock with the touchback. And so the Eagles go on offense from the 25. They need a first down, basically, to put the game away.
Well, really, they need a score to really want to put the game away. If they can go downfield in this final 3 minutes.
But what I'm saying is if you can get a first down and in the process force Gardner Webb to burn their remaining 3 timeouts, that'll put the ball away, put the game away. So the Eagles waiting to go back on offense here. I'm not sure what the delay is. The official, Jeremy Parker, obviously talking upstairs over his headset, or talking to another official, one or the other on the field. And he keeps looking over there at the Gardner Webb sideline as the running Bulldogs defense comes on the field.
Offside on the receiving team. Number 85 stepped across the line before the ball. Be a 5-yard penalty. First down, Georgia Southern.
Emil Smith.
So
call for the offsides.
Yeah, so the Eagles.
Correction, the ball will be re-kicked. 5 yards from previous spot.
Yeah, so they're going to make them re-kick that. I was getting ready to say, I've never seen them mark it off a penalty like that.
Penalty is declined.
Okay, now the penalty's declined, so they will not re-kick.
Yeah, no need to at this moment. Just get your defense on the field and try to make a stop. I don't think it changes anything. He's going to kick it out of bounds or back to the end zone anyway.
So 1st and 10, ball at the 25-yard line. And here is the offsides right there. And I think they had said the penalty was on Georgia Southern.
Yeah, so they declined it.
Yeah. But the penalty was actually on Gardner Webb, and Georgia Southern declined it. So Jalen White picks up 1 on the play, and Gardner Webb uses their first timeout. Only 5 seconds tick off the clock.
Well, this is where
Gardner Webb.
This is where Trey Lamb's family history of football really comes into play here.
Those holidays where he said the family would bring out the whiteboard and start diagramming plays. And he told us all kinds of funny stories. Generally speaking, the family, the big family, the reunion, didn't happen at Thanksgiving because their teams were always involved in the playoffs at Thanksgiving. The high school playoffs and college football season was still going on. But he said at Christmas time, when the DVR was invented, that took the Lamb family holidays to a different level because then the coaches and the players, they could all sit around and fast forward and rewind and watch plays over and over again.
I want to be a fly on the wall during those Christmases that they have, just to hear, just to talk back and forth about schemes and offenses and defenses, different play calling and things like that. It must be fascinating.
No doubt about it. But will any of that come into play here? They did burn their first timeout, 2nd down and 9. Amari Jones running option, and he gets stopped at the 29-yard line. Tackle made by Shai Thomas. And now they burn their second timeout. And so far, only 9 seconds have burned off the clock.
Shai Thomas made the tackle, but Trey Dunson was the first one there. Another Georgia kid from Franklin, Georgia.
Yeah, he was a teammate of Emory Jones, the Florida Gators quarterback now, when the two played for the Heard County Braves. He was on that AA state championship team a couple of years ago at Heard County. And Trey Dunson's a guy that Trey Lamb says is the best athlete on their defense. He came to them as a safety, and he's grown into a will linebacker. But 3rd down and 6 right here with the ball at the 29, line to gain the 35. If the running Bulldogs can get a stop right here, they're going to burn another timeout, and they're going to get the ball back. If Georgia Southern can convert this into a 1st down, they will nearly put this game away. They're going to go to the air on the play, and Amari Jones being chased and throws, and it is incomplete. And by passing on that play, Gardner Webb gets to save a timeout, and they're getting ready to go back on offense. It's 4th down.
Yeah, the pocket collapsed on Jones, and Hood thought he had it coming down, but they're going to rule it incomplete. Here's another look from behind.
No, it hit the ground.
Yeah.
Even if it was a catch, he still would have been short of the 1st down. So now Beck on to punt from his 15-yard line. And unbelievably, the running Bulldogs are going to get this ball back, and they've barely burned any time off the clock since they last scored. Skanes calls fair catch at the 30. And Gardner Webb will go on offense. They are 70 yards away from scoring a touchdown to win this game or at least take the lead, and they have 1 timeout remaining.
Well, it's touchdown or bust. You can't go for a field goal at all. This has got to be your opportunity. And, you know, Bailey Fisher, he's been experienced throughout the previous year at Tennessee Tech. He's played very well tonight, almost 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's been very wise as far as the decision-making has gone out there on the field. We'll see what they do here.
1st and 10, ball at the 30-yard line. Fisher spins, being chased by Springer, throws incomplete. He was looking for Nari Gaither, and it's incomplete.
At that time, Fisher had to dump it out quickly. Springer was on the move.
Yep. 2nd down and 10. Still plenty of time for Gardner Webb to conduct a 2-minute offense here. 2.5. So the timeouts being only 1, really not even a factor at this point. Not yet, at least. Fisher back to fire and throws complete. Another catch by Franklin. What a debut by this freshman tonight as he picks up the 1st down. 6th catch of the night to go along with a 50-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, he has been excellent in his debut for Gardner Webb.
1st and 10 from the 47. Fisher, all kinds of time, throws underneath, complete to Jordan. And Jordan gets to the 44. They're on the other side of the 50 now. It's 2nd down and 1.
Well, back-to-back plays, completed passes by Fisher. And he had plenty of space that time. Could have ran it himself in the middle.
1st down carry for Gaither. That'll stop the clock to move the chains. 1:48 to go. And the running Bulldogs threatening to pull off a huge upset here in Statesboro tonight.
And when it's 2nd down and run, that's when you can run the football. Give your receivers a rest. Give Bailey Fisher a rest because you know these next couple of players are going to be crucial.
On 1st and 10, Fisher has a pocket. Now it deteriorates, and he's going to run. And Fisher down to the 31-yard line. He got close to 10 on that run. It's going to be a 9-yard pickup. Clock continues to run with 1:25.
I think with the added pressure on the receiving core for Gardner Webb, expect Fisher to use his feet a little bit more if they need yards.
He can take a shot at the end zone right here if he wants to. They did. No, it's 2nd down and 1. Handoff goes to Donovan Jones, and Jones picks up the 1st down at the 30. That'll stop the clock again to move the chains. Plenty of time for Gardner Webb as they have it 1st and 10 at the Georgia Southern 29-yard line. This crowd in stunned silence as Gardner Webb is poised to pull off a last-minute upset here. Fisher, heavy rush, they got him.
He got it out in time, though. There was an intended receiver, so it will be ruled incomplete, but Georgia Southern brought the house.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. The ball was tipped.
That was Kevon Glenn, the new linebacker from Florida State, who got to him. But an incomplete pass, 2nd down and 10, but now the clock's at 49, and now it starts to become a little bit of a factor. Still plenty of time, but now under a minute to go. Play clock at 8. Play clock at 3. Snapped at 2. Heavy rush again. Quarterback sack. A.J. Watkins. A.J. Watkins with a huge quarterback sack way back at the 36-yard line. And timeout called by Gardner Webb.
And Gabe Thompson couldn't
Gardner Webb.
hang on, and Watkins blew right past him, getting a sack.
1 minute timeout.
Watkins had 2 sacks last year, and this is a potential game-changing or game-saving sack, depending on how this next play goes for Gardner Webb. It's going to be 3rd down and 17. And with that sack, it forced Trey Lamb to call his final timeout.
3rd quarterback sack of the night for this Georgia Southern defense. And it comes from a man in A.J. Watkins that Coach Lunsford told us was the guy they're looking at to possibly help replace some of that Raymond Johnson pass rush that's now in the National Football League. As you take a look at Scott Sloan, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles.
And Scott Sloan calling the plays, and also in the huddle, Vic Cabral, the defensive line coach, having a word with his defense as well. Cabral done a great job last season, this season as well, just the entire time at Georgia Southern with the D-line rotation. And it pays off here in the 4th with the sack by Watkins.
3rd and 17 coming up. 2 things you got to defend against here. Of course, the first down. But more importantly, you can't let a guy get behind you in the end zone here. They might try to take a shot at that. Or might just try to cut this in half on 3rd and 17. And Fisher going to go down again. Dylan Springer, and they have no timeouts remaining. The clock is now running. It's 4th down and long. And the running Bulldogs got to get up to the line and run a play to try to keep this game going. Got to pick up the 1st down. No timeouts remaining. Rush is coming again. Springer chasing Fisher. Fisher gonna take another sack. Throws it away. And Georgia Southern's gonna win this game. Flags are out. That's gonna be for intentional grounding, but that's gonna be a moot point as Georgia Southern brings the pressure here in the final minute, and they're gonna win this game. Kadri Jackson, number 9, another one of the new linebackers, one of those Power 5 guys they brought in from the transfer portal. Put the pressure and got to Fisher that time.
Intentional grounding, number 14, offense. Result of the fouls and loss of down will be 1st down, Georgia Southern.
So Georgia Southern will survive the upset bid from Gardner Webb here tonight as the defense came to life once the running Bulldogs got on the other side of the 50. And they brought the pressure, and the pressure was able to succeed.
And exhale. Scary moment for Georgia Southern fans as well. Defensive line comes up clutch in the final couple of plays. When veteran leadership comes in hand.
You see Kadri Jackson getting hugs there as he made his way to the sideline. One of the newcomers here for this Georgia Southern defense, and getting slaps on the behind there and some high fives as he stands by Scott Sloan. These are 2 guys that the Eagles recruited out of high school. They ended up going Power 5, Jackson to North Carolina, Kevon Glenn to Florida State. But now back here in Statesboro playing for the Eagles, and you can tell both of them had big-time plays in this last series. They're going to be a big factor for Georgia Southern this season.
Yeah, there was an absence of inside linebackers going into this year. Big spots to fill. Rashad Byrd, Raynard Ellis, and Chris Harris Jr. gone from 2020. Todd Bradley, a season-ending injury before the first game. So a lot of players were looking to step up in that inside linebacker position, and Kadri Jackson comes up clutch for the Eagles.
The 13. The result of that foul also equals a zap 10 on the clock at 3 seconds.
So there's only 3 seconds on the clock. There's a 10-second runoff because of the penalty. So only 3 seconds for the Eagles to kill here, and they will win this game. A hairy season-opening victory for Georgia Southern, but the Eagles hold on to beat Gardner Webb 30-25 behind quarterback Amari Jones. A huge game from Logan Wright, who goes for 178 yards rushing. Jones nearly 100. Gerald Green 72. And the defense comes up huge in the final minute of the game to preserve the victory, Danny.
Yeah, overall, tremendous effort from Georgia Southern, able to hang on and get the win. But keep an eye out for Gardner Webb this season. We saw some tremendous performances from quarterback Bailey Fisher, 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Logan Wright, 26 carries, almost 180 yards, gets a touchdown in the fourth quarter to seal the deal for Georgia Southern. But look out for Gardner Webb. Georgia Southern moves on. They look to Florida Atlantic now.
Yep, and Gardner Webb will be at Charlotte next Saturday. I think you're right. Gardner Webb picked 6th in the Big South. Looked like they'll be a lot better than that here in Trey Lamb's first full season as the head coach. Final score here at Paulson Stadium, 30-25. Georgia Southern knocks off Gardner Webb, holds off the Running Bulldogs in their upset bid. And now for Danny Wan, our entire ESPN team, I'm Matt Stewart. Good night from Statesboro, where Georgia Southern beats Gardner Webb by 5 in their season opener.